welcome to episode 9 of Emo Kids podcast. We have a special guest here, Thomas Ian Nicholas.
Yeah,
that's me.
Man, we're so stoked to have him. We're gonna, he's
stoked.
actor, musician, producer. What else? What else am I missing?
Philanthropist.
I've recorded at least 1,000 farts.
Hey! What would you call that? A fluctist?
I don't. I never knew I had an official title.
I don't know. Well,
But
do you sell? I was gonna say you sell them on OnlyFans. I feel like you can make a lot of money.
I should. I just send them to my
Only
friends.
He's probably great at guess my fart.
Only farts.
Only farts.
Only farts.
Only farts. There should be a thing.
If it doesn't
should
exist
be.
already, it's going to.
Yeah.
Well, you can,
Someone's
you
gonna
can
steal it. You
download-
shouldn't have said it on camera, dude.
Dude, that's a yeah.
Only farts.
Hey,
or
whoever's
does that give us
listening,
copyright?
Whoever has the balls and the entrepreneurship to pull that off, good for them. It's a free idea.
Well, you have a couple weeks till this comes out, so you better register that trademark or something. Anyway, dude, we're so stoked to have you.
Yeah, man.
So
Stoked to be here.
I want to
Stoked
ask you the first biggest hard hitting question. We're gonna start right at it. And this one's from Jason.
dialing right in.
What was it like to hook up with Tara Reid?
Now I don't want to.
That was Randall, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that was Randall, yeah.
I don't want
He's
to,
not here, of course.
dispel any rumors or hopes. You would think that doing a teen sex comedy that we were all just hooking up. So the only hooking up that is what you saw,
Right.
But it was awesome because Tara is a sweetheart. We're still friends. We still do Comic-Cons together, and
Nice.
every time I do a Comic-Con, I always play a show, and Tara is always front row and center.
That's
Just
awesome.
screaming and supporting. So she's awesome.
Wow.
That's
So
awesome.
so no other hooking up, and you just ruined probably half the questions I had on here. So.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Right, and that's a wrap.
Here's the thing, I've done stage kissing before, and even though it was nothing sexual, it was totally professional, this was in high school, it was still awesome.
He didn't say it wasn't awesome. He just said it was only on camera.
I mean, there's a part that's awesome, and then there's another part when you're naked in bed with a hot chick, and there's 25 crew members
Sure.
watching
Well, that's
you,
not what
and
I
you're
did.
18 years old, and you're uncomfortable as hell, and then your agent decides to visit you on set that day.
Wow.
There we go. There's some stories.
That's a great segue.
Also,
Stop shaking. You look nervous.
Also, the kind of guys that the crew looks like, they're not the most attractive dude. Probably sweaty and just holding the mic or whatever.
Holding the boom. Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
just staring right at your eyes. Yeah, right. Break your line of sight. All right, so
Wait, I actually have a question related to that.
Okay.
I've always wanted to know, when actors have fake sex scenes and just wearing a skin-colored lederhosen, right?
Lederhosen. I look like you in a German sex comedy.
Skin colored pasties, yes. Lederhosen, not so much.
Okay, right. I just mean Speedo or underwear.
Right.
And then, wow, I don't understand how, I have so many questions. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't start there.
I'm wearing the skin colored lederhosen underneath my
Oh, yeah.
black clothes. You want to see?
We'll have to see that later.
No, I
That'd be
would
the
love
new
to see.
quote.
Maybe on the road.
All right.
Okay.
You're bunking with me then.
Okay, no, done.
Sam already called it though, so I don't even have to fight Sam
Sam-
for it.
Sam was
Pour all
way
of our
ahead of it. Okay.
He's told me he's a great cuddler.
I
So.
believe it.
All right,
I am.
so what started you in entertainment, man? What was your first movie?
My first movie was actually making out. I was 10. No, wait. I was 10 or 11, and I made out with a 22-year-old. That was my first movie.
What movie was this?
This was
And why is it not allowed in America anymore?
it was The Fear Inside, starring Christine Lottie, Dylan McDermott, and Jennifer Rubin were the two killers. She had agoraphobia, so they moved in as her housemates, but it turned out they were murderers on the run. I played Christine Lottie's son.
So it was a thriller or horror?
Thriller, not a horror, because she couldn't leave her house. She had agoraphobia.
I see.
And they were crazy. And
What
so,
a
yeah.
first movie to be a part of as a 10 or 11-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like the male equivalent of Leon the Professional. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I just showed that actually to my son. I was like,
Oh, really?
You gotta check this out,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Natalie Portman's awesome in it.
Good movie.
Natalie Portman as a child.
He was expecting more action, though. I misled him. So he liked it, but he was like, there wasn't that much action.
Right, okay. We'll have to watch it now. We're gonna watch it.
Oh yeah. Before moving on too, right? I've already talked to you, Thomas Ian Nicholas, Tom. You prefer Tom because with your Tin Band. You may hate me, but I got to get this out of the way before I fuck this up and piss you off some other time. I've been calling you Tin Man. Is that cool with you?
That's fine
or
by
do you
me.
Not like that.
I'll answer to anything. Tom, Thomas, hey you, Tin Man.
Have you ever been called Tin Man?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about my first band in 1997, but it was called that.
No way.
And then my brother, who was playing drums for me, was like, well, there's more than one of us. So then we very uncoolly became the Tin Men.
Ah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
What's your brother's name?
Yeah. Fucking brothers.
What's his name? Is it Tin also?
No.
Oh, okay.
His name, his name's Robert.
Rin Man.
Does he still
Yeah, I was
play
gonna
with
say
you?
maybe
Or?
he
No, this was my first band back in 97. So I've destroyed all copies of that first album.
Okay, got it.
Because I feel like that was me learning what not to do.
Right. We've had a podcast talking about our early projects and train wrecks, all of them. I'm sure.
There was some good moments in there, but I don't sound the same.
Sure.
Even what I call my first album in 2008, from a 17-year-old kid to being 28 years old. Sure. I sound like two different people.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of maturing that goes on for sure in 2 decades.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
For sure.
But I didn't actually let you finish the question. What got you in entertainment? Obviously, you talked about your first movie, but what was your how?
Yeah. So we moved. My mom and I'm my mom's only child, but I have 6 siblings from my dad. So I'm the youngest of 7. Did I do the math right? Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, a lot of kids. But we moved down to LA, I think, when I was 6 for my mom to pursue her career. And then she got a job as a casting director. So you would say in today's day and age that she was casting for indie movies, but back then they were just B movies.
Got it. Right.
So there was a Lance Hendrickson movie, and she got a call on a Sunday night, at 10 o'clock saying, oh, we need an altar boy tomorrow, 6 a.m. call. And so she woke me up at 5 a.m. before. She's like,
You're in.
You're skipping school today and you're coming to work with me. And I was the altar boy in this Lance Hendrickson
awesome.
film. And he comes busting in, and they break open a corpse that's filled with cocaine. And I'm the altar boy standing with the priest, reacting to this. Yeah.
You have all these gnarly movies to start off with, and then you do Rookie of the Year, quite possibly one of our favorite movies maybe growing up. I think they actually taught Jason that in school. It was required because he's from Chicago.
Yeah. But I grew up a White Sox fan.
That's all right.
I grew up outside of the city, When
Well,
it
if
was
you were- if
when
you
it
were
was
Southside,
Comiskey
then-
Park. I think it was Comiskey Park back then. Yeah. I don't know what it is now, but
It's probably some name of some cellular company. Or,
Right.
oh yeah,
Right.
probably.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Actually,
Yeah, because it was Comiskey.
It used to be
and then- and
U.S.
then New
Cellular, I
Comiskey.
think. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, Rookie of the Year, great movie. I was a big fan.
Awesome, man.
yeah, big fan. I think I was I don't know. How old were you when you filmed it?
I was 12 when we shot it.
Okay, when did it come out? How old
We
were you
shot
when
at the
it
end
came
of
out?
92, and it came out the summer of 93.
Okay, yeah. Yep. So
how'd you land that? Film?
Just auditioning. I mean, once I did that first job,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to work with my mom, and then I got an agent. Went on just probably anywhere from 100 to 200 auditions a year just to land one job.
Wow.
A year.
Fun.
So that was one of those auditions. They auditioned kids in Chicago and
did you know how
LA.
big it was going to be when you got the audition?
I mean, I knew it was a studio film, but
Right.
not every studio film is a
Right.
pun intended
Home run. Yes. Perfect.
But obviously I was excited about that aspect of it, but I had no idea that it would still have the shelf life that it kind of does. And
Right,
people are
right.
showing their kids, and their kids are still
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it. It's still tracking with today's attention deficit.
Right. I think I just watched it again recently because it just was on.
We both watched
Hulu
it.
or Netflix.
We
It
were,
came
wa-
back
we were
on
watching
recently.
it and drinking and
No, not us.
no.
But I gotta say, in preparation for this interview, I watched it today with my kid. I was like, you have to watch this, dude.
Oh, amazing! How old was your kid?
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
That's around the age that I showed
Yeah.
the movie to my kid.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen this movie in a while, man. Let's check it out. So I'm sitting down with him, it's so weird, because I mean, the last time I saw it, I was probably a kid. But yeah, shared it with Mike, and then speaking to the man himself. Man. That's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he might have more questions about it. You still stay in touch with Gary Busey?
I haven't seen Gary in a while. I stay in touch with Daniel Stern and Amy Morton, who played my mom.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
How was it working with Daniel Stern?
Dude, Daniel Stern's awesome. That's the only film that he ever directed.
Oh,
he
that's right, he
directed that?
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know
and
that.
he was
About that,
amazing.
I would love Daniel
Yeah.
Stern too, man. He's Home Alone is obviously one of the greatest.
Have you seen his like sculptures now? He's an amazing
Really?
artist.
Really?
And does these like installations. There's a bunch that are around like the LA area. I think he lives on like a farm in like near Santa Barbara or Ojai or something like that.
Pardon my ignorance. What's an installation?
Like so if you're at, you know, let's say down like at a harbor and there's like a statue of something, like that would be an installation.
Installed somewhere.
Oh, okay.
That's not in
Like
a
a
museum.
permanent installation.
Cool. Fuck.
So he's got one. I don't remember where it is, but that was where I first became aware of his like sculptures.
Interesting.
It's like a statue of a dude doing like a handstand with one arm, and his tie is like flying in the wind. It's made out of like metal,
Nice.
and it looks
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
I would love to have a farm and be able to have the space to kind of do stuff like that. Just, I'm going to make a sculpture or a statue or something.
Yep, especially up in Ohio or Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I know.
Just out of the city fray.
Yeah. Unlike us right now, we're in the bowels of the city.
We're
yeah.
literally in the bowels of the city right now.
Pretty much.
If I make noise after 10, I'll help. Raise
So-
down on me right now.
So now we're gonna talk about something else. Steve, can you go grab that over there underneath that? Can you go grab that real quick?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We got a special surprise for you.
surprises.
Yeah. So this has to do with our next line of questioning. Here, hand it to him. There you go.
It's not even the right kind of.
Assume the position.
I mean, it's an apple. It wasn't my scene.
It was
an apple pie.
It was a red apple pie. though.
God damn it, Sam.
I mean,
Well, I have
because
apples,
it's
Dutch
made with
apple.
green apples.
I was in a hurry.
I
Green
see.
apple.
I see.
I think.
Wow.
The camera doesn't have to see it.
No,
It didn't have
I
to
mean,
know at
it's
all.
technically not homemade.
And it's
Right.
not hot and sitting in the center of the table.
Now, I'll
I,
tell
I was-
you.
I was given.
Sam did fuck it before you. So,
I was given a 30-minute notice that we needed an apple pie.
Oh, you did. Jesus. No.
he didn't finish though.
I
He's
should've
a gentleman. He didn't finish.
In the original script, it was he put it in the microwave and then burns his dick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But then they changed it, obviously.
Well, that pie's for you to eat, even though Sam's been entered in it.
Does that happen on the spot? Did they make that change like on the spot, or was it,
No,
like,
they
pulling
made
an
that change
audible,
like
or-
in pre-production.
Oh, okay.
When they're like talking about.
They're like,
stuff.
that's too much. We can't have him burn his dick. Fuck it, it's fine. Right, anyway. I remember that was
Yeah,
probably
that's
one of
drawing the line.
I think at the time it was probably
So
the most
I'm just gonna
edgy
go to
scene.
the bathroom.
Right. Break it, right? Cut. So yeah, how was it getting into American Pie? Did you just audition for that too, and just?
I did. I auditioned for that as well, and I remember actually that. Well, I didn't find this out until recently. So we're in this downtown area, and I was thinking about my film that I did here. I produced and starred in a film for Lionsgate called Adverse, where I went head to head with Mickey Rourke, and in that film is a couple of my friends that I kind of came up in the scene with, and the acting scene. Luke Edwards, who's in the other baseball film, Little Big League.
Yeah.
And my buddy Andrew Keegan, who I went to high school with, who's in 10 Things I Hate About You, the other sort of like teen,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
you know, sex comedy.
Oh wait, the young
Great movie.
friend of
Heath Ledger.
Joseph
Heath Ledger,
Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sat in
Julia
the
Stiles.
bloopers. He's like, "Can I get an anaphylactic?"
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Can I get
that's,
an
I
anaphylactic?
haven't seen that one in a long
Oh,
time.
it's such a good
Steve just like
movie.
quoting
It's
the
in
whole
the
He
movie.
was
book.
like he did the Shakespeare outfit in that movie.
I think so,
With
yeah.
the girl who was also kind of nerdy.
Well, no, Andrew Keegan was like I don't know what his role was in that one,
Wow.
other than
I'm trying to think of it without putting on my phone.
he was like the it boy in like the 90s.
I see. Never mind.
He was like the cover of like Teen Bop
He kind
magazines.
of looks like fucking John
He's a surfer
Stamos
dude.
and
Yes.
and Mario Lopez combined.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know who he is. He's like the villain in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay, yes, he's the
Okay,
villain.
okay.
Like I said, I haven't seen the film in so long. I'm like,
I love that
disagreeing
movie.
with everything
He
you're
looks like
saying.
he'd play a good villain.
That's a guilty
Yeah.
pleasure.
He's like,
He was a villain in Adverse. So
Yeah.
I found out on the set that I had always known that he got the offer first and that he couldn't do it due to scheduling. But it ended up that it was a day with they had scheduled Safe Ferris to play this scene in the movie. So then I met Monique as well. So I put this all together that essentially he got offered to play Kevin in American Pie. He was already contracted to do 10 Things I Hate About You. And the day in question that wouldn't work schedule-wise was the day with Save Ferris. And then Monique said that after all was said and done, they ended up moving their date anyway.
So he could have done it.
He could have done it, but
Jeez.
already at that point, then I was signed on.
Well, that's great. It sucks for
Wow.
Great
So
for
you
you.
know, now I say Monique is. I'm like Monique. You need to change your band name from Save Ferris to Save Kevin.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
That's great.
will say I absolutely
Save
love
Kevin.
Save Ferris, though. I have a huge Save Ferris fan. She's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that scene. There is at the end. They're on the top of the building. And they're
I have an
circling
ex-bandmate who now plays in Safe
That's right. I just saw them at the Venice
Me
West,
too.
I think, like a few
Wait,
months
really?
ago. Yeah. They're
Oh,
fantastic.
Jason.
dude, speaking of which, the guy in Maui just hit me up. He's like, "Oh, you know, Save Ferris. We're gonna have them come out like a week before you guys." I was like, "Cool."
Wow.
So what a weird Save Ferris
Really?
spiral.
There you go.
You know,
They made the-
the
6
world
degrees
just
of
keeps
Save-
getting smaller.
6
Yeah.
degrees of Save Ferris.
Well, now I know I'm coming out a week beforehand. Or a little bit before.
You are anyway.
before that. Yeah, I know I am.
We need to talk about that, by the way.
Oh, okay.
We have to
Oh.
have a serious conversation about that.
So
Let's
any
do it.
okay, let's do it.
any funny stories working on American Pie that you can
Or
share?
Rookie of the Year.
Jeez, man. I mean, like
All the years
or
of
Evers.
American Pie is really
yeah. So
I gotta see Evers.
I'm spanning the course of like now you've just like given
Right.
me the reins of like 4 American Pie movies.
or should
Rookie
we
of the
keep
Year,
it to the
Adverse.
should we keep it to the first American Pie?
Yeah, we had to hone this in if I'm going to share some funny stories.
Okay, I actually
the
have a
wedding
question.
one was good too, though. I love
Are
that.
you do you keep in touch, or have you ever talked to John Cho at all?
Yeah,
still?
John actually had a band
Oh, really?
called Left of Zed.
Oh, cool.
But I mean, it wasn't something that he like took very seriously.
Right.
But
He's
it was
obviously-
something that we had kind of in common that we talked about,
Oh,
like
cool.
playing music and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, shoot, I haven't talked to anyone in so long. I've been so busy touring. Obviously,
Right.
John's been busy doing his thing, and
Yeah.
you know, we
Movies.
both have kids. So it's like once you have kids, you're pretty much never hanging out with your friends unless you're working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right, so stop getting so excited. Let him answer one question at a time.
No, I have 4 more questions related to John Cho.
It's okay. I don't really have an answer for the funniest moment, so I'm all good.
He's like, yes, please, other questions. Not one. Can't think of one funny. Just all straight business on set. All the funny stuff.
No,
like
it wasn't
there.
all straight business. I'm just trying to think of like a funny moment that is, like especially from the first one. I mean, obviously we were all like pretty young on that one, so there's like, I don't know that there's like, a particular
Sure.
sort of like funny quip that happened. I know that as we started doing more films, we started hanging out more on the weekends, especially
Yeah.
when we started going
Having more fun.
having like on location.
Sure.
Because obviously at home we shot the first one all in around LA.
Yeah.
So we were all like driving home at the end of the night. So there wasn't really like
Got it.
any
Right.
hang time.
Plus, you guys were what, 17, 16?
Yeah, I was 18.
Okay.
Eddie was the youngest, which is why they couldn't show him having sex with Stifler's mom. It was not legal.
They couldn't show.
It was like
They
a,
couldn't show it.
Why
Yeah,
didn't they show it in the
infer
second or the third or the fourth? I'm just kidding.
But then it became a thing.
Yeah.
It's
That-
like
that they never
Jaws. Like
show
you
it.
can't see the shark
Sure.
now. Like now it works, but now we can't see it.
Yeah, right.
part of the comedy. It's part of the comedy.
How's
Yeah.
that dynamic work on a movie set with your the cast and everything? Do you get along? Do you, because sometimes even we're on the road or we're traveling, we get at each other's throats. How is it on set? I guess sometimes.
Well, there's kind of like a the hierarchy of that, so you don't really fall into that too much because you've got sort of your TM or your first AD is the Gestapo, who's kind of like running the show, and like he's the asshole of the group that's making everyone do everything on time, and so he's the fall guy,
Sure.
so that everyone else can kind of have fun around him, and,
Right.
Cracking
Cracking the whip.
He's the one cracking the whip. Exactly.
Bang bang.
And so the director's good cop, first AD is bad cop because you don't want the director to be the bad cop. You got to have a different bad cop, because he's got to have a good relationship with the actor.
Interesting. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. All right, so I can't ask about anyone hooking up. You already told us it didn't happen. Boo.
There's
Boo.
more. There's more to talk about.
But yeah, American Pie 5, dude. Is it happening? Can you talk about it? What's up?
You couldn't say.
There is a possibility. So I'll tell you this. This is what I do know. Unfortunately, I I started a bad rumor after we did American Reunion because I had a beer with Hayden, one of the directors, because John and Hayden, who wrote like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and now they're like the creators and directors of Cobra Kai. So they had like an idea for a sequel. So I thought they had like written it and like that's what we were doing. So for years I was like, there's a script. We're just waiting for Universal to like blow the dust off of it. Like, let's go. Then I found out like there was no script. I was wrong. So I've tried to like kind of right the wrong of that rumor that I sort of started.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they'll push this along because everyone's like, let's go.
But then in 2021, or so in 2020, my son starred in the M. Night movie Old. So we were in the Dominican. So we had the premiere in New York.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I love that movie.
Released by Universal. So we're at the premiere, and I run into the president of Universal and the chairwoman. And so they were like, wait, that's your son? Like, they didn't know because he goes by a different last name. I kind of gave him his own identity.
That's awesome.
Because I don't want him to like, you see like
nepotism.
Well, I mean, nepotism is great, but I'm saying, but I don't want him to have a preconceived notion when you first hear his name. You have to kind of find it out because it's not like Tom Hanks, Colin Hanks. Not that I'm comparing myself to Tom Hanks, but
yes, there is that preconceived notion that stereotype or that
like they only have it because
right. That's great. That's like good parenting right there.
I'm trying. So they say to me like, oh wow, that's your son's amazing in the film. By the way, we're negotiating for American Pie 5. So this is summer of 2021.
Oh, let's go, buddy.
So 6 months later, I text Adam Hers, the writer, and I go, how's the script coming? He's like, oh, we didn't come to terms on the negotiation.
So is it just kind of shelved for now? Is that the...
Well, I mean, you're seeing a lot of like sequels to, long awaited sequels. Like there's an announcement for like Happy Gilmore 2.
Right.
And other films that are out there that I can't think of off the top of my head, but we're seeing it a lot now.
The new Alien movie that just came out.
Yeah, but I'm saying more like the sense of like comedies, because we're having like these dark films, but like the 90s comedies seem to be like the way of the dodo right now. Vince Vaughn is saying like studios want to make a movie about Battleship before they want to make, like another, Wedding Crashers. Exactly. So
movie.
From what I understand,
Wedding Crash.
Studios work in 18-month cycles. So in the 18-month cycle, if you do the math, I don't want to do math right now.
Yeah.
Somebody do math for me. Like summer to winter of 21. So if you say summer of 21, that puts us to the winter of 22. We're now in I feel like we're like right back where we should be. So maybe it's that cycle where they're going to circle back on the idea.
Cross our fingers then.
Hey, I'm running around doing American Pie emo night trying to fan the flame of the brand. You're doing your part. Exactly.
One city at a time.
I'm tickling the balls of the fans.
There you go.
There's even a Henry Rottenberger night, or is that Rothenberger? What's Henry from Rookie of the Year? You had a couple nights like
I do
game.
I do like first pitch for the Cubs every year.
Okay, yes.
And so I've been doing that for like 16 years as well.
What is that like?
That's amazing, man. To like be on Wrigley Field again.
Just throwing first pitch for a baseball game, like regardless if it's like any
like
team,
like a residency.
The Cubs are legendary.
It's not like a residency. It's more like I started it in 2008 when Tom Ricketts. I kind of like got connected with them, and then they were cool. And so every year I just kind of go, hey, like, let's talk about schedules. And now they'll reach out to me like in February or March, like, hey, like, what's your schedule like? For it's become an annual thing.
Right. So have you ever fucked up a throw?
Oh yeah, for sure. But not as bad as like 50 Cent or like like I didn't throw it to
I saw that
space.
one hit the guy's nuts. I can't remember who that was that did it.
No, the worst ones were like they just throw it like completely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 50 Cent threw it toward first base.
Yes.
He's going home and it just goes that way.
Wow.
My worst one actually was on the 30th anniversary, which was last year. So I have this.
Let's look that up. I'm gonna find that somewhere.
I made this thing, like this idea, like at the 20th anniversary. I was like, I'm gonna float it instead of throwing a pitch. So I did the floater, and it got like nearby. It was like close-ish, And then
like underhander?
No,
like,
it's
yeah, the floater.
It's a
you know?
floater
so like
from the
back
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
from the mound,
I
like
get
full
you.
on floater. So at the 25th anniversary, Amy Morton, who played my mom in the movie, she didn't want to throw it. So we reenacted the whole
that's awesome.
like I got up on the mound. I was like my shoulder, my arm, my hand, like glove, like peel it back, like Mary written there. And I look up at the stands, and the camera like does a close up of her.
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, it's Amy Morton. I'm like, Mom, it was you. And like they have got like the mic on me, like the whole line. We act out the whole thing.
That's a great
She
scene.
runs out and she's like, float it. And I threw a perfect strike at the 25th anniversary. Cut to the 30th. Disney's there. D23 members are there. The Cubs did like 10,000 Henry Rowengartner bobbleheads in the floated pose. I fucking landed it in the grass. I was so short.
You lost a step in those 5 years.
Yeah. Somewhere in there, I was like just a little too confident. Repeat confidence is high, and I landed it in the grass.
Right. All right. So, what's your favorite? I'd say film, but like any maybe like a TV or film project you've worked on. What's your favorite to date?
Shit. Well, I mean, probably my most recent one. We shot a TV series on the Warner Brothers lot called Underdeveloped. My son plays Tom Arnold's son on the show. It's kind of like The Office, so if you like The Office, it's in that realm. But it's a production office. I have I'm a failed producer with a creepy mustache, and there's an all-star cast: David Koechner from The Office,
hell
Mark
yeah, dude,
Pellegrino
that
from
guy's so
Supernatural, Sam Levine from Freaks and Geeks. So yeah, that one you can watch the whole first season on Amazon or Tubi for free.
Don't you have a special narrator there too?
We do have a special narrator in there. We got our friend Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup. Did you know that Jarrett Reddick has also been the voice of Chuck E. Cheese for 10 years?
What?
Chuck
You
E.
guys
Cheese
know
has a
this?
voice?
He's the voice of Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't even know what that sounds like.
And he also does like songs, like
Cute.
obviously
I
like
gotta mark that.
yeah. So
I
you
gotta,
know,
I gotta throw that in the podcast.
I knew that he, because he's been doing the voice of Chuck E. Cheese for 10 years, that he understood like the gambit of like, you know, voiceover work.
Sure.
And he's a voice on Phineas and Ferb outside of doing like the opening theme song.
Wow.
Like there's a band on the cartoon, and he's like the band leader. And so yeah, so I asked Jared if he would do it. In fact, I was on tour with Bowling for Soup. We were in Torquay, England, and I had to like jump outside. I was like 30 minutes before I'm supposed to go play a set. I'm negotiating with Tom Arnold's manager, and we lock in Tom Arnold. I run backstage. I'm like, you're never gonna fucking believe this. We locked in Tom Arnold to the TV show. He's like, oh man, that's awesome. Congrats. I go, Jared, do you want to be the narrator? He's like, yes. I'm like, all right, you're gonna be in the press release.
That's awesome.
Man, these deals are so easy to make sometimes.
They are with your friends.
Right.
It was not easy with Tom Arnold's manager.
Right.
And I've known Tom for 20 years, but Jarrett like was very quick to agree to do that, which was cool.
Well, I want to transition. I was going to transition to with Bowling for Soup, but before we move on to the emo music side of you.
Oh well, there's an amazing connective tissue in there.
Okay, so hold that thought real
with
quick.
an amazing story with me and Jarrett and how we became friends.
Okay, perfect. But first, I know you mentioned another project, Emo Kids.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Is that already released? Is that pre-production, production?
We're sort of in we shot a little bit of it in Boulder City, just outside of Vegas. My son is also in that show. See how nepotism
I was
is working
just saying,
great.
no wonder nepotism is great.
He's playing a 12-year-old criminal. It's great.
Following dad's footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
Like the good son.
No. Well, what was the other one? Just some creepy movies. Just I don't know.
Good son.
Adult content for young actors.
Yeah, so I'm playing a
Macaulay
cop in
Culkin.
the series. It's got an amazing cast, like Jeff Fahey, Vicky Whalen, William Forsythe, Jake Weber, Mark Pellegrino, like just awesome sort of like crime dramedy that, like I said, we shot in Boulder City. I think we're finishing it up in LA. I've been shooting in between my days off on tour, which is
That's amazing.
been a little tricky.
Is that what you were filming the last couple of days we were talking about doing the podcast?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I would sometimes like fly into Vegas and then like get picked up and go to Boulder City, or like I was on tour, played Santa Cruz, threw out the first pitch for the Fresno Grizzlies.
Wow.
Sweet.
They used to be the AAA of the Giants. Now they're like single A, but they have a great stadium out there. Played a show, drove home, picked up my son, drove to Vegas, shot, drove back. Yeah, it's just been.
So you don't sleep, is what you're saying?
No.
He's like us.
Yeah,
especially.
we're gonna run pretty ragged this weekend, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. Three shows. I mean, the drives aren't too bad though.
No.
Last one is
We try to keep them pretty
But the
manageable.
last one's like under
Six?
under 6 hours.
Under six
Yeah,
is easy.
That's what I'm saying.
When you start getting to
Under
like
six,
8 or
yeah.
9,
Yeah. I'm
like
with you.
my best friend is Matt Kennedy, who he founded The Graduate. He's in The Dangerous Summer for 10 years. He dipped out on my last tour to go fill in for the Juliana Theory to play bass for them.
Oh, nice.
So we were both in Chicago the same night. So I threw out the first pitch for the Cubs, played the Tin Roof, and then they were playing at Subterranean. So I went to their show. They had to freaking drive to like Pittsburgh. It's like 10-hour
that's a
drive the next day.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nice. Were they in a van or?
Yeah, I think that in a van, and I think they were basically like going to drive a few hours, hit a hotel, and then finish up the drive.
I hope they
was
had a
just
driver. I hope so.
yeah, they had like a decent like small crew together.
Good.
So
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, we
That's
don't.
why the 5-hour drive sucked for us.
Yeah,
Because
10-hour drives. I don't
yeah,
care
yeah.
if none of us have to drive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been driving myself for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
There's been a couple of tours that I've been able to like, afford a driver, which is, dude, such a luxury.
Oh, man.
Oh my god! I
cannot
can
wait.
only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we have Sam.
Yeah,
so-
we have a driver.
We have Sam.
Yeah.
He actually doesn't even let us drive. at
He
this
loves
point
to
now.
drive.
I actually
loves
love it. I
He
love
kicked me out
driving because
the other day.
it's like because when I don't want to drive, it's always an automatic. There's no fight. That's the best part. 'Cause, like I'll drive like during the day, during the morning, it's great. But like those times when I really just don't want to drive, just handing the keys over
Which
with
is
no
Saturday-
resistance.
which is Saturday
Which is like
morning
a
after our
Saturday
party.
morning. Yeah,
After
exactly.
we drank a shit.
Oh
ton.
yeah. It's like Sam
you
got to
deserve
bed
it.
at 5. He is not.
That's
driving.
basically when I know one of us driving is how drunk Sam is tonight. It's like if Sam is super drunk, then one of us is driving,
Yeah.
which is fine because he literally drives 80% of the time.
Word.
So, actor, how did you get into emo music? Like, where was that in life?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, obviously, music. I started playing guitar when I was 14. We talked about my first album that I destroyed all copies of in '97.
Did you really actually destroy it? Though?
Oh yeah.
Didn't digitize them before.
No. It's actually like a really sad story. I'm gonna bum us out now.
Hey, this is the Emo Kids. Let's get there.
Yeah, let's get him.
So I had just finished my first record right when I booked American Pie. So I told the directors, and I was like, I've got this album. I'd love to put a song on the soundtrack. They were like, sure, that'd be great. The music supervisor totally cock-blocked me.
That sucks.
So I still got a distribution deal, and they knew I was coming out on this Universal movie. So I rented 5,000 copies of the record, because that was the deal break. Like we could get them at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
I sat with my mom and the distribution company for like an entire 9-hour day, putting stickers on every single copy, because Tower Records ordered 3,000 copies.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
And they were
hell
going to
yeah.
have like a
Awesome.
sticker like, my name, like from
From American
American Pie,
for
exactly.
fans of blah, blah,
Exactly.
blah. Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we can still make this work. The distribution company went out of business after we shipped the records. So Tower Records goes, well, no one can fulfill this. So they sent them all back to me.
Oh,
Wait, so no one can fulfill it once they sell out?
Just that no one could fulfill the retail, like no one was there to facilitate hey, I sold a record. Who do I who's going to
Wow.
invoice me? Like the facilitation of
Yeah.
distribution.
yeah. There's this thing that
You
is,
still
it
have
used to be
those?
called a record store, and you would go to the store
right.
and you would buy
Yeah.
you would buy a record and exchange currency, and it would
Oh, is
be
that
a
right,
physical.
smartass?
I'm explaining for all the Gen Zers that don't know what the hell we just said.
They just think Tower Records is a venue now.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I stored those 5,000 copies in a storage unit for 10 years. And then finally I was like,
Jeez.
fuck this. And I got them all out of there, took them to like a professional shredders that just shred this shit.
Oh
No
no.
way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
What is
That
5,000
that
copies of CDs? How big is that? Like, how many boxes is that?
I owned a Ford Ranger long bed, and I fit them all in there with I had a shell,
Yeah.
like and like a carpet kit.
And perfectly fit.
I mean, to the point where like that truck was weighted down though.
Really?
Like you did not want to take speed bump in that truck.
Right,
But
because what else do you do with that many CDs?
besides just shred them, nothing. I certainly couldn't sell them.
Wow.
Just listen to every
Dude,
single one of them.
what a tragic story that.
Oh yeah, same music supervisor on the second movie too. I recorded my second EP that I've also never released. I recorded at Ricky Rocket's studio called the Hit Shed.
Same band or
The drummer for was it
Poison? Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he start a drum company too?
Oh, did he?
I think
haven't,
so. Yeah,
I haven't
Rocket
talked to him in a
Drums or
while.
Ricky-
We had
yeah.
a falling out, but that's a different story. I'm not going to talk about that here. I can't talk about that.
We can't have that recorded anyway.
No. So I did that, and then it was the same music supervisor. It wasn't until
Get cock blocked again.
got cop blocked again.
Oh no.
So I
Is this
kind
person
of
fired yet, or what?
no. He was like married to like the controller of Universal, so
Couldn't do anything about
it. That's how he got the job
Couldn't
as
do
the
it.
music supervisor.
There we go. More nepotism.
Yes, nepotism, but it worked against me.
Right,
now
right.
I have nepotism
Damn
working
it.
for my
Ah,
son.
there you
That's why nepotism is great when you're in control of it.
Yeah.
So basically, I think when I was doing American Reunion, I don't know. I think it was like through a mutual friend, I got linked up with Damian Starkey, who was the bass player for Puddle of Mud for a minute. He had another band called Burn Season. So Bobby Amaru, who's now like the lead singer of Saliva, is also an amazing drummer. So we recorded an EP together, and that's the song I landed on the soundtrack of American
Wow.
Reunion.
Oh, okay.
Finally.
Yes, finally.
Nice.
And I did that one because I when we went to do that movie, I finally was like, I'm not asking. So I found out from the production, I was like, where are you guys throwing the rap party at? And they're like, oh, we don't have a spot yet. I was like, cool, I found a spot for you. So I found Smith's Old Bar, which is a great venue, like centrally located to where like everyone was staying. And they had a venue they have the venue upstairs.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was like, cool. I booked myself at Smith's Old Bar on the date of the rap party, and then I got Universal to hire the downstairs for the rap party. So I played the rap party.
You're just playing chess the
Oh,
whole
yes.
time.
Yeah, right.
I played some
They're all-
massive chess.
They're playing checkers and you're playing chess.
And so then I remember I played that set, and I went to the bar, and the director came out and was like, wow, you're actually really good. Can you like cover anything? I was like, yes. And so he's like, well, could you like cover like Lit, My Own Worst Enemy? I was like, yeah, no problem. Like whatever you need. And then they chose an original song after all.
Wow. Cool.
So
That's
yeah.
great.
Hey, I'm here.
So you just released your 7th album, though, right?
Mhm. I did, yeah.
It was
But,
what March? Was it March?
May
May.
17th it came out. And that one is like the most sort of like, I guess, step that I've taken into like toward pop punk.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything on there is in that realm, but there are songs in there that sound like, you know, they could be Newfound Glory.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So like, what I guess do you have different inspirations on each of the albums, and which one's your favorite? You think of all the ones you've done?
The new one's the favorite one,
Yeah.
for sure.
Why do you think that is?
It's probably the most vulnerable that I've ever been, because
So emo.
the previous records, well, it was also like who I was writing with, because the previous records, all the songs come from like a place of experience, but I hid the meaning so deep that you'll never guess what I meant.
Yeah, sure.
But on this one, like I would say things in the writing sessions, and I'll be like, oh no, I can't say that. That's like too obvious and too personal. And then everyone would be like, no, then you have to say it.
Right.
I was like,
People love that though.
right.
They
Well,
love
but
it.
I've always been so scared to do that.
Right. But then when you just let it out, you find that it just comes right back to you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
People love it.
Yeah, like people were like friends that have been like following the band for a while through like, you know, the previous albums. They're like, oh snap, I didn't know like you were going through that stuff, because they read some of the shit about me like in like, you know, like whatever is out there in like TMZ world and all that shit, and
Something
then like
that you have
heard
no
the
control
album.
over.
Yeah, and then listened to the album. They're like, oh, I didn't know. And then I like found like the articles about you because I heard what you were saying, and I was like, wait, what's going on with him?
Right.
And then they realized like, it's like I'm just putting it all out there. So
Connected the dots.
yeah.
That's great. And you're gonna be playing some of the songs with us this coming weekend, right?
Am I jamming with you guys?
No, I mean like,
you're
as far as,
saying like
you're
We can arrange that
solo,
too.
I was like, I got so excited. for a second.
I was actually gonna follow that up with.
Okay.
We're thinking about, you want to play Stifler's Mom at least, and if not, come on stage for a couple other songs.
Yeah, whatever you guys are down with, I'm down. I'm down.
Hell
I
yeah.
mean,
Let's do
I'm
it.
I'm kind of a one-trick pony, but if you pick anything off the Frat Party album that I know,
Sure.
that I like, no matter how drunk I get, I'll still
Yeah.
perform well.
All right.
You know.
Hey, us
Deal.
too.
I don't want to like karaoke my way through like some like
Fair. Fair enough.
something that I'm not gonna like nail.
Fair.
Because
Fair.
obviously
At
you
least
guys
Stifler's Mom,
are
though, I think.
We're doing
you guys
Stifler's
are
Mom.
awesome,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that I match that level.
We're
so
gonna-
you have to pick something I know.
Do you sing it a full step down?
Oh my god, my songs are so low.
They are low. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
they're
but I
low.
love it. It sounded great.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm half step down, and then I like drop D tuning, so I'm in C sharp,
Oh, you're okay. So
and then I'll play the songs lower than they are, even still, and like
what's
people
your
are like,
what's your comfortable range for if we're playing Stacy's Mom and Stifler's Mom in standard? I guess, which is because that's how we play. It's pretty much an exact like.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
lower, right?
We might,
Yeah.
might be pushing your vocal range.
I mean, no. I mean,
If
we don't
I
have
can
to
always-
play it in standard. We click buttons and then the tuning goes down.
backing
So,
tracks, homie. Yeah.
You got a button at the click for that too, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, really?
I'll take a listen. I don't know even what that is, but I could probably just sing it maybe an
Stacey's
octave
Mom's
down.
not that high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. Not at
It's
all.
very
You're not pitch
comfortable
corrected
range.
through Ableton?
I can. It's just going to be a pain in the ass. I just have to figure it out.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
3-hour.
Anyway.
Yeah, we got a 3-hour plane ride. Let's do it.
But no, I know you're going to do like kind of like a warm up DJ set. Obviously, DJing.
Yeah, which
tunes from
which
American
by the way,
Pie.
not to get into semantics in the middle of the podcast, but you guys got to tell me like what your set is so that I know
Oh, for sure.
absolutely.
what's
Yeah.
like, you know.
I'll be giving you the set list anyway.
yeah, because I got to make sure that obviously what I'm doing as a warm up isn't
Sure.
Oh
isn't
boy,
you
did we have an experience?
Oh god, yes.
Ooh, should we have a story
Yes.
time?
Let's have a
Yeah,
story time. Let's do it.
story
Let's do it.
time.
Story time.
Jesus. Okay, so we usually travel with the DJ, DJ Osh. He's been on the podcast.
Who you'll
before.
meet.
Yeah,
You'll meet. He's gonna come anyway and just hang out. And he had a wedding this past weekend, and so I was like, "Oh, well, let's see if I can find like a local band to support." I think even at the time I was like, "Oh, we like that would have been a good weekend," but you already had some stuff going on. But so I'm like trying to find a local DJ, emo DJs, or a local tribute band, whatever. And I found Lake Erie Emo Club. Shout out to those guys in Cleveland.
They were great.
Awesome guys. They already did emo nights, and they just kind of jumped on the show and really amping up the crowd. I mean, they don't consider themselves DJs. They were just like guys that play music and amp up the crowd. I'm like, that's exactly what we need. Like, we don't need you to like be Diplo out there. So great. We got them, and then I was talking to Pittsburgh Emo Night, something like that. I forgot the exact handle. But we were going back and forth for a little bit. But I guess he also DJs for Emo Night Brooklyn, I think, or Emo Night. I'm not really sure. So sometimes he's like, if I'm in town, I'll totally do it, right? Ended up not being in town, so it's like,
Oh.
hey,
Sorry, the story was not making
Turn
sense.
their mics off.
Yeah, exactly. So then I was like, okay, well, we need to find somebody. So I just posted on like Facebook and Craigslist, and this guy's like, yeah, I can DJ. I was like, cool. He sent me like his DJ Instagram. It was like 2,500 people or whatever follows. I was like, oh well, at least I mean, if you're doing that, like you can probably just figure out an emo night. My God,
I've never heard so much dead silence.
It was a rough one. It was a rough one. I was like, okay, here's well, first of all, like leading up to it, he's like, oh, can you send me like a playlist of like what kind of music to play? I was like, well, like emo music. He's like, well, yeah, like what? So just like I just typed in like emo playlist on Spotify. I sent it to him, like it's like songs like this. He's like, okay. And then leading up to a couple more days, he's like, oh, can you send me the set list? Did you guys? And I'm like, yeah, okay. Here's the set list. Like just stay away from these songs. Like okay.
First
then-
3 songs.
And the first 3 songs he plays were songs in our set list. And I was like, but also he started at doors, and we don't have support start at doors. We let people trickle in, and then so he's like already playing. Luckily there wasn't that many people there, but I'm like, hey, so don't play these songs. So he's like, oh, I'm like, and by the way, you don't go on for like an hour. He's like, oh, okay. He's hanging out with us, whatever. Then he finally gets back on, and he just ends up playing my front of house playlist, which I'm like, no, now you can switch over to the other stuff. Then he starts playing songs again, and we're like telling him, oh, don't do that. And then he would just, a song would start, and he would just stop it, dead silence, and then like,
because nobody was cheering.
Then do another song, right? And then so it was like, oh, by the way, like, want you to hype up the crowd, like ask for requests. We want you to like, we have a QR code that we have people like vote on for us to play a song live later in the day, and just all these different things. We kind of wanted to talk to the audience, and it was just like he said, it just
He didn't say a word. Not one word.
didn't say one word. Playing the wrong songs, would have dead silence. He'd also like transition, and I can't hate on it too much, but it was like, it would be like Paramore start, and then all of a sudden straight into like dubstep EDM. It was just like, I mean, I enjoy EDM a lot, but it was just like it wasn't the time to do that. And so all of us I was taking a nap in the van. All of a sudden I wake up to all these text messages like, Jesus Christ, oh God. I'm like, oh fuck. I get out of the van.
I think I was on the phone with my mom, and I was boom, boom.
Yeah. So Steve's
Sorry,
going
Ma,
up there.
I gotta go.
Steve's babysitting, and we finally decide like, let's just go on. This is so we like went on like maybe 20 minutes early. We're like, we can't let this go on anymore. And like, I guess, and it's so weird too, the venue opened at 6:30 and they didn't have support start till 8:30. So they had a full 2 hours of just front of house, and I was like, all right, this is weird already. But then the crowd's getting restless. I guess they go over to Kevin. They're like, hey, so is there an actual band? Like we're millennials. It's getting late, kind of thing. So yeah, we're just like, let's go. It's just whatever. Let's go. So I mean, it's funny. Like after we got off, or before we got on, I just like handed the guy his cash. I'm like, you don't have to stay around. We're about to jump on stage. You want to leave? That's fine. Like, cool, thanks, bro. Played our show, and the show went well. We finally like got the crowd back, but it was definitely like there might have been not
uphill battle for sure,
dude. There may have not have been a support at all because the crowd was lower than probably when they even walked in the door. So we had had to play a couple songs before they finally started to like fill in and get energized and stuff. So
if they didn't
basically be your
there,
own opener.
That place would have just emptied out.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. But yeah, that's the quick story there. But yeah,
so I don't have much to live up to.
The bar is low.
Very
low.
Yeah.
I promise to be at least a little better than that.
So besides guitar, do you have any other instruments that you're into, or just strictly guitar?
I mean, because I play guitar, I guess I can play bass, but I'm not like a great bass player.
Sure.
That's it.
Sure.
I'm a one-trick pony.
whatever. Writer or director, actor, musician guy.
Here's the thing. So like, as far as like DJing goes, though, so my experience in that realm, like obviously, okay, so prior to like doing emo nights in the States, I was doing alternative DJ sets in the UK.
Yeah,
probably like,
Whoa.
There was a company called Propaganda from 2014 through now, but they're kind of defunct now. They owned 14 venues, so I played
in UK
everywhere in the UK.
Wow,
that's so cool.
They were essentially emo night with a little bit of like indie rock mixed in. So you play like Two Door Cinema Club, and the crowd would like go nuts.
Right.
And you would play like the Hives or whatever it was, like, and they would be into the indie rock stuff as well as like the emo stuff. And I did like Glastonbury, there was 5 DJs, 5,000 people, silent disco at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Oh, that's
They love it late over there, don't they?
Oh yeah.
I love silent disco, man.
Yeah.
Have you been to one?
I sure have.
What's it like? I want to try it.
Man, it's epic.
Oh, dude, it's
And
so
I
much
was on
fun.
lots
So-
of substances, and
I've been to a movie, where you watch,
No, so like each DJ
A lot of
has their
water.
own color, and so you can switch on your own head.
Oh, way. I didn't know there was multiple
gotcha.
DJs
It's like a
going at the same
channel?
time.
Yeah, so we're all at the same time. So like I've done it in Austin where there's like 3 of us, and then Glastonbury there was 5. So the basically like the best feeling is when you play a track,
stands, or you see
and
like
and you see the
all the
crowd
colors.
light up, and you hear they're singing it. So like obviously you can't hear the music.
Yeah.
It's 4 a.m, but this 5,000 people are singing. Like I put on like Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
and everyone just started slowly trickling in. Before I knew it, 5,000 people were on my color.
That's great.
Like, and I overtook the,
That's so cool.
All singing
mode
super
for
off
one
key because they
moment.
can't hear themselves.
Right.
I was gonna say, so everyone's singing, they can't hear it.
Yeah, they hear the track, but they're just singing, so it's just like,
So they sound like me when I sing.
You're actually a pretty good singer, man. I got.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a
you.
good whistler. I was saying
Wait, when
today.
have you heard me sing?
I think the other day, honestly, you were like singing at the airport, and I was like, oh.
You're also great at air guitar.
Thanks.
You also get
Yeah.
great
I did
backups.
a great Sam impression
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
when you play
Air guitar?
the
It's
middle.
very,
Oh yeah.
it's very Margaritaville.
Well,
Like he's like Steve Lukather.
before we move on too far, I was actually going to ask this later, but Europe, bro. Let's Emo Kids Tin Man this over there, dude. We're dying to go over there.
it's so much fun. I've been going over there since, I think my first time was 2012.
Yeah.
Though the promoter of that tour is still in jail, but that's a different story. But I've since
story
found, I've since found my
I've been
way.
hearing that's a different story too much.
But I've found my footing over there for sure. I'm going back again.
Yeah, so
my third time this year to the UK.
Yeah.
In September, and I went twice to Europe as well.
Who
But
do you
the
find-
UK is way more fun than Europe for emo.
Yeah.
Who do you find is like who receives the music better? Like the UK or Europe in general, or the States? Like where are the crowds better?
The UK and the Midwest for the States.
Interesting.
So like
Alright.
UK and Illinois are my two stomping grounds and have been.
Okay.
Cool.
So like I've played 1,000 shows over the last 15 years.
Woo.
200 of those shows around about are in Illinois, and 200 of them are in the UK.
Wow.
So we're talking
okay.
like 20% of each of those is my like touring life.
That's
Nice,
so
for
rad.
sure.
You played Bourbonnais, Kankakee area. It's where my mom lives.
Oh, where is it?
South of Chicago, about an hour south of Chicago.
I've played at south of Chicago. Like
Yeah.
Palos Heights was my stomping ground.
Okay,
At
yeah.
a spot called Trio. It had like different owners for a while, so
Okay.
I would hit that spot like 3 times a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they switched owners, the new owners, and I didn't get along.
You
So
played in Champaign.
I played in Champaign,
Yeah.
Champagne was what is it? They opened up a new venue over there.
What did we play? What was it
Oh,
called?
well, yeah, I'm
It's
trying to
called,
remember.
Why can't I
It was a
remember?
great show.
Because there's like a TV station across the street. They have their venue, and then they opened up like a big venue that's like
Is it on the campus? On U of I
No, it's not on the
campus, or-
campus.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. That's where we played. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the name of this venue. I played there like
Canopy
4
Club.
times.
Canopy Club. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that it?
No, that wasn't it.
That's where we played. I love that place. man.
Canopy Club. I've heard great things about.
That was awesome.
It was a great venue.
It's so funny too. So when we pulled up, we didn't have great pre-sales. We were like, again, our first time going out there. They're like, well, we have this like front room, right? And it's like, maybe the stage is as wide as this room here. And there's 5 of us on stage, and our show's pretty energetic. We're fucking going everywhere. And and they're like, however many people we had, like this, it would be pretty packed in here. And I'm like, ugh. But then you see the other room, and it's like LED screen lights, and like I was just like,
Drum risers.
yeah, a drum riser. And I was just like, here's the thing. Everyone's like, no, let's play a smaller room, whatever. I'm like, here's the thing, guys. Like, well, we can't control how many people come here, but we can control the show that we want to put on. And the show we want to put on requires this stuff. And sure enough, they're like, I finally convinced everyone to play at the big stage. And like, way more people came in that were on the pre-sales. And that was like, that was my moment there. Everyone was like, no one argues with me anymore. I'm like, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Illinois, man. So we'd love to go back over there, especially for this guy. Kankakee, I just feel like there's not really venues out there, bro.
No. It's down there through the corn a little bit, so.
Fair.
But it's a great place, great area, man. A lot of heart down there. That's where I came from.
We drove through there, and he was already there early to visit his mom, and like we show up and they just have like all this food for us, just set
amazing.
up.
An abundance.
It went
of
from like
food.
tacos.
That's the
and
Midwest.
That's the Midwest hospitality.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that sandwich place called?
Bo's Beef.
Dude.
Everyone loves that sandwich. It's a little, tiny
perfect.
little hole in the wall, but
It's like 2 ingredients.
it's always those little gems.
Dude,
you
that
know,
was my
but
breakfast, and I did not expect like an Italian.
I had
sub for
tacos,
breakfast.
beef sandwich,
But-
Italian beef sandwiches,
I feel
pizza.
like I've played Kankakee though. It sounds so familiar.
Yeah, K3, Kankakee, Bourbonnais. It was the summer home of the Chicago Bears for a while. Olivet Nazarene is out there.
Is it close to Charleston or no?
Charleston, I went to college out there. Yeah,
I
Eastern Illinois.
used to play Friends and Co. a bunch.
Okay,
in
yeah, I went to
Charleston.
EIU. Yeah,
Okay.
Eastern Illinois, yeah. That was where the first Jimmy John's was established.
Yeah, my friend from Bottle of Justice, who's from that area, went to school and lived in Bloomington Normal.
Okay.
His dad was Jimmy John's attorney. They went to college together, and he was his roommate when Jimmy John was like doing Jimmy John's subs out of his dorm room.
Wow.
That's
Is that how it
business
started?
plan for it,
Out
yeah.
of a dorm? Wow.
Out of a dorm room there, yeah.
But yeah, beautiful. I love it out there too, yeah. Yeah, I want to move out there. Back.
Yeah.
I want to move back
He keeps
there.
talking
yeah.
about moving out there.
Michigan. Where were we? Ohio.
Cleveland.
Ohio.
Cleveland
yeah.
was great.
Cleveland.
Beautiful.
My God.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is great too, yeah.
So, what is your writing process like? Do you write solo? Do you write with a band? Like, what is your process?
I love to collab. Like, that's definitely like the way to go. I mean, on this recent record, Taylor Carroll, the drummer from Lit, produced it, and he was all about starting with the chorus, which I hadn't really done before. I've always started, with the verse, and kind of led into that. So I really liked that process of it, of like starting with the hook, and then building around that.
Cool.
And so it would just be like, he would call me up like, all right, we're gonna write, or you like, well, the first song that we did was Tomorrow's Gonna Hurt. That was when he got the job as the producer. I was considering like 3 producers, and I had signed my first, record deal with S-BAM out of Austria. Only took me 15 years and 6 albums.
Right.
Overnight success. And so he
In
wanted
Austria,
me to,
for sure.
yeah, he wanted me to consider him to produce it, and so I went to the studio, and he's like, "Yeah, I got this idea for a song, like just like I just want to write about like not just like partying, but like the repercussions of that, and like how important, and like we just had like this conceptual thing, and then 6 hours later we had the song,
Wow.
Nice.
and yeah, obviously like hammered out like through the lyrics. We didn't just like write the first thing that came to mind, but. Yeah, so it starts with like, a seed of an idea, and now the chorus, sort of music and melody, and then kind of building from there.
Wow. All right, cool, man.
Makes sense with like My Own Worst Enemy. That kind of starts with the chorus too, right?
Fair.
I haven't listened to a lot of Lit, but
Well, he's
I
not the
still wanna
original
play that
drummer
verse,
from
though.
Lit.
oh, okay.
He's been in Lit for probably like 5 or 6 years.
The original drummer passed?
Yeah, he passed.
What was the name again? All right.
Yeah, your Art, I think, or so, because
My tongue
Jeremy
went out,
just like wished him like a happy
Okay.
miss you bro, like happy birthday sort of thing.
I remember seeing him on like, what was it, MTV Cancun, when they were at the beach.
The Spring Break.
Big
thing.
Al.
Spring
is what they
Break,
call him.
yeah.
Big Al is Al.
Oh, Big Al?
I think that's what not Big Al from like
Right. But
from
that,
Peoria. He literally just posted about it on his social media, and Jeremy never really gets like sentimental.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Jeremy Popov, because it's Jeremy and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he called him Big Al. See,
Alan.
There you go, Alan.
Schellenberger.
That's right.
there you
That's
go.
right. Yeah,
Nice.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Kevin's like our own personal Jamie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, pull it up on screen.
Hold on screen, Kevin.
I still want to play that song.
So
by the
we're
way.
gonna go back a little bit too, right? You talked earlier about high school, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts too. Like, I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but like, were you emo in high school?
in high school, I grew up in like the grunge era,
Right.
So I was like, when I basically, my first concert was The Offspring.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
At
The
nice.
Whiskey a Go Go when you were 15?
Yes.
With your mom?
Yep.
Is it weird that I know that?
This is song
Yes,
specific.
You were wearing a blue shirt.
It's not. I totally accept this information.
If the mom comment wasn't a part of it, it wouldn't be as weird.
Random piece of information that I have.
I got extensions and braids in my hair when I was learning how to play guitar after seeing them at
That's
that show.
awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember going to the Almost Acoustic Christmas, and I looked like Dexter Holland, but I didn't like dye my hair blonde, but I had the Dexter Holland like
hair.
long hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smash changed my direction
Oh, yeah.
in music. Smash and Green Day Dookie, I feel
Yeah.
like. But yeah, I love Offspring, yeah.
So we talked about this too. Like me and Jason are on the older side of things too. So like I was more like Blink-182 pop punk in high school. Like that was like kind of my thing. So like what was your transition into like kind of more the emo scene? And then we're gonna get more into like your involvement in the community and things like that. But like what brought about your transition into the emo pop punk?
I mean,
stuff?
I think it was really Jarrett that kind of bridged that gap for me.
So that's the story that you're going to tell us.
Yes.
Is this the right time then?
For sure, this is the right time.
This is it.
This is it, because all the music that I was doing before that, I mean, it all very much has a 90s alternative grunge sort of vibe. And then I wrote my 5th album with Caleb Turman from Forever the Sickest Kids. So that took on like an indie rock vibe, because that was where we met in the middle.
Sure.
Between alternative 90s grunge and FTSK. Indie was like the happy medium.
Yeah.
And so the moment that kind of happened for me, and this is you want the short version or the long version?
It's up to you, man. I love details. So.
All right. Well, this one's a lot of fun.
Let's go.
Because this one, like, it kind of almost delves into the idea that if you're meant to like be friends with someone or connect with someone, no matter what you do to get in your own way, you will find your way to those people.
Yeah.
And that is this story. Because it turns out I've been at festivals with Jarrett over the years. Like in the UK, he was in People on Vacation. We were at the same festival. We're on the same billing on 2014, Hit the Deck, and we did not meet. So cut to, and everyone kind of told us, like, I had heard from people like, oh, if you meet Jarrett Reddick, you're going to love him. Like, you guys are so much alike. Like, you're going to just get along so well. And he heard the same about me. So during the lockdown period, I get a Facebook message from a guy that worked with him. He was like, hey, Jarrett has this podcast called Jarrett Goes to the Movies. Kind of like the Bowling for Soup Goes to the Movies. So they would watch a movie and do commentary. And he wants to invite you on to talk about American Pie. And now, speaking of, we're downtown. We just talked about Adverse earlier. Yeah. I was doing promotion for Adverse, and we were gearing up for a 2021 release, March. So this is like, summer of 2020. I was like, listen, I'm not doing anything nostalgia right now because Lionsgate has me like focused on, Adverse. It's a crime drama. So I want to do this so bad. I can't do it right now. The only message that Jarrett gets is, I don't want to talk about American Pie. That just gets the cliff notes.
Was this like your people talking to their people kind of? Is that
just like, well, this is the guy like who like ran the podcast for them. That's the only message he gives Jarrett is, oh, he doesn't want to talk about American Pie. Oh, so you can understand his reaction is like, what an like. So he's like basically thinks I'm an asshole. Right. So he goes and does the podcast. They watch American Pie, and he calls me out for not wanting to talk about it. So I don't know any of this. This is all happening unbeknownst to me. I'm focused on doing promotion with Lionsgate. Sure. So a year later, I'm touring in Texas. I get an offer to go to Lava Cantina, and they want me to like do a live podcast and watch American Pie with a live audience. And the owner of the venue is like, hey, I'm friends with this guy. He has this podcast. I want to bring him in. So I agree to it. Turns out it's Jarrett.
Oh.
They're friends.
He's playing chess the whole time.
Right.
Well, no, he had no idea. So Jarrett hears, oh, Tom wants to do this. But he's like, he didn't agree to that. He doesn't want to talk about American Pie.
He's like, now he wants to talk about it.
Right. So then we get on the phone, and he thinks I'm just going to be a big asshole. And when he finds out that I'm not, then I do the Rockstar Dad show. We start like talking. We're texting all the time. I go to Texas. We do the podcast, and we have a blast. We're 7 Texas beers deep. When I say Texas beers, like there's like twice the size of this one.
Yep.
Yes.
He's from Texas.
Where in Texas are you from?
Huntsville.
Huntsville. I have no idea where that is.
Little town, 35,000 in between Houston and Dallas.
There you go.
Oh.
Is that any relation close to where Bowling for Soup is from? They're from.
They're from the Dallas area.
Well, they're from a small town as well. Like I can't remember the name of it.
It's like Irving or something.
No, it's on all their damn.
Jamie,
koozies.
pull that up.
Yeah, Jamie, pull it up.
It's it starts with a D. Denton.
Denton.
Oh my god,
Denton may as well be Dallas.
dude! Speaking of which,
That's like Glendale to Los Angeles.
All right, fair enough.
dude, Denton actually a venue. I forgot what it's called. They just hit us up to play out there.
Do it.
Denton,
Really?
Yeah, University of North Texas.
Good emo
It's
scene out
it's
there,
in
maybe?
Denton.
October.
Wow.
All right, we're going to Dallas in October. Four dates in Texas.
Let's go.
I have
Great,
prior
more
engagement.
barbecues.
Oh yeah, dude.
If you're working with a promoter, just talk to me about who it is first.
Right. Yeah, I literally got the email like either last night or this morning.
Okay.
I was like, "Where's Denton?"
Just let me know what company you're working with.
all right.
Because I will save you the trouble. Anyway, so we do the podcast, and I had said, because I was so excited about doing the podcast with Jared, it was all finally coming together. I didn't know that he thought I was an asshole the year before.
Sure. Yeah.
We talked about this like on the podcast.
That's
so
funny.
I'm laughing my ass off. But I had worked it out for us to play an acoustic show after the podcast on the stage at Lava Cantina. So we're doing like songwriter in the round. So like I play a song, he plays a song. So he plays the first half of 1985. And remember, we're 7 beers deep. So he goes, we should sing lyrics about American Pie. And so we start like trying to vamp it on the spot. And we fail miserably. It ended somewhere with like, and then Finch couldn't get his Vespa started, and I think Amy from the podcast yelled out, and then somebody farted. And like that was the end of like us trying to like vamp lyrics. But the next day when I was like super hungover, I started writing all these lyrics, like dummy, like actual lyrics for 1999.
Yeah.
I sent it to Jared. He goes, "Oh, that'd be a funny TikTok." And then cut to like I land in Baltimore for a charity event. He's in Baltimore. Lets me do a surprise opening act for them. I'm so stoked. I record the TikTok video by myself in my hotel room. 500,000 views. Jared goes, "All right, come to Dallas, where he lives, and let's work on the song."
Record it.
And when we recorded 1999, that song and that connection of working with Bowling for Soup, I think, was the straw that broke the camel's back to kind of like
The floodgates open.
Yeah, the floodgates open.
Yeah.
And I'd already been doing stuff with like, emo nights and doing like guest DJ stuff. And I'm, friends with Ace Enders from the early November, which is
really?
more like,
Oh, we love them.
more like
crazy.
and obviously my best friend Matt was in the Dangerous Summer. So like, these are more like the underbelly of like, the deeper cuts of the emo stuff, not just like,
Sure.
the mass media.
Yeah, no, it's funny. We always talk about this too because our set list consists of things that most people know, right? When we try to like put in some we call deep cuts too, right? Which aren't even deep cuts to us, right? But sometimes we get like at least half blank stares, maybe even more, and we're like, "How do you not know this song?" And Early November is like one of those. We're like, "Man, I would love to play Early November," but I'm like, I just don't know if it would have the same. Everyone's like, "You can
We
be
should
Fall
just
Boy
play
or
it
Mike
anyway.
Him," you know what I mean?
Right, of
You know what I mean?
course.
You play it anyway just for us.
Yeah, so
Fuck the
and we
audience.
do that. We do that with some songs. Like I remember for the longest time, I wanted to play Under Oath, and so I was campaigning forever. So we finally do it. But that's one thing too. So we have this thing that's kind of a workaround now, where we kind of know the a handful of deeper cut songs, really more for us than anything. But we have a QR code that we let people vote on, so that at least a majority of people that voted they'll know this song. So we're not like just guessing, and now we just know what the audience wants to do as far as a deep cut.
But
Also,
you can agree that like at an emo night, I've done it. I've like, because I'm friends with Ace, I'll throw on an Early November song, and you're only pleasing.
How does it do though?
You're only pleasing like that, that hardcore percentage.
Right.
You're
See
not.
two hands go
tell.
up in the
You're
back.
not.
right?
It's not like when you play like
Exactly.
"Misery" by Paramore,
Well, right,
and like
right.
the whole room erupts. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not that.
Yeah.
Or like now that I've like toured with the Spill Canvas, I imagine that'd be the same thing.
Right.
I'd like if I threw that on, 10% of the room would be
Losing their minds.
absolutely losing
Yeah.
their minds. Like, I can't believe this is happening. The other 90% would be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, the fair weather emos. Yeah, no, it's funny though. Like there is, I'm maybe you've had the same experience, right? When you do play the Early November, right? Where we play like a deep cut song or whatever, like Under Oath or whatever. After that, they're like, I had no idea you guys were gonna play that. I'm so stoked you guys play that, and like the passion from like they're like, I go to this, an emo night or whatever it is. And they don't expect to hear these certain songs. So when they do, it's like they're like over the top, right? Excited about it, and that's to me is always worth it. I'm like, well, at least I made this one guy happy. this one guy is super fucking stoked.
I mean, I'm a jerk when it comes to that because I'll do the guest spots and I'll straight up like hit the late 90s anthems that are acceptable into like emo culture. So like I'll throw on like Harvey Danger and
I was literally just going to say Harvey Danger.
Yes. they're like yes, and they don't even know.
I still want to do that one. I don't think everyone wants to do it. I would love to do it.
That one,
I think it would
that
go
one
very well.
Slaps.
We do Last Resort. Last Resort, people love it.
Oh yeah, of
It's not
course.
even
Like
part of
Last Resort also slaps.
people love.
I would play Last Resort every time. Every time.
Dude.
It's fun to play.
Right from the gate. Right from the gate.
Yeah.
It's that one. I had no idea would be so popular. I mean, obviously I knew it would be popular, but now like it's probably one of the best reactions we
I
ever
don't think
get.
we've ever seen a blank stare drill on.
No, definitely not.
No.
And we always say this too. I mean, I'm like giving away to people that I mean, I guess everyone that watches this has probably already seen us, but like how we start is like, all right, I'm gonna sing the first line and you guys are gonna finish it. And I don't even say what it is. I just go like, cut my life into pieces, and the whole crowd.
Always.
This is my last resort.
Yeah.
And like literally, I never say what the song is. I just start singing the line, and everyone sings.
So duly noted. Last Resort not in my playlist.
Yeah, you don't
We don't always play it.
Well, that's not
and
true
we'll
because
pull it
so
out.
every
Fair.
every single set we change up. More so for my sanity, a little bit for their sanity. Even though I think Sam can play the same set every single day and be happy.
As long as it's not in the same
he
area.
He always gets pissed off at me because I change the set list stuff. Because it's funny. I make the set list and I still look down and I'm surprised. I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
Well, here's another one. So like if you look at my Frat Party album, I'll throw a lot of that stuff on.
Yeah.
And so you'll be amazed to like watch an emo crowd get down with Smooth Criminal. But that's not a song that you hear at a lot of emo nights.
Yeah.
That would be a great one to add.
I was thinking about
Alien
adding
Farms?
Smooth Criminal or like the movies. What's it called? What the movie song?
Movies.
Is it just called
yeah.
Movies?
It's called
Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah, Movies.
Great
That
song.
song's a great song. Well, actually, that's a great transition. So, tell us about all the emo events and bands you've toured with, and just like obviously,
We've pretty much already covered.
And I mean, there's a whole list of unless they're new ones like of people you tour with. Alien Ant Farm is one.
we
right?
just played Portage, Indiana with Alien Ant Farm and the
Nice.
Ataris.
I went to that
Ataris,
show.
huh?
Yeah, my girl. We went to go see that show. It was great.
You did stuff with Mest, right?
Yamava. What's up?
You did stuff with Mest.
With Mest, yeah. We did it was Mest and Goldfinger were like
Goldfinger, that's right.
That was Austria and Germany, and then we did one other show with Mest as well.
Wow.
Obviously, Spill Canvas. Fun story about Ace in the early November. So obviously I'm 1 year younger than I am because obviously, lockdown. So I had this plan for a year to do my party at the Viper Room, my 40th.
Yeah, okay.
And so obviously I had to cancel that and do it a year later. So it was my do-over 40th.
Got it.
So the whole thing that happened is I had Ace come and do the show. He could only call it Ace Enders, but it was like they started doing videos and you could see like it's Ace and Jeff and they're on like Runyon Canyon and like fans started to like put it together, but it was a surprise early November show.
Nice.
So I basically put it all together that I was like, my band's gonna play and then I want like Ace to play and then the early November and that was my 40th.
That's so rad.
What a great birthday.
They opened for you.
What's that?
They opened for your band.
No. I opened for them.
Okay.
And so that I could party
I was
with all my
gonna say.
friends.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
best
you don't
way to
want
do it,
to like
You don't
have
wanna
to stay
headline
sober
your own.
until the headlining act.
Yeah,
You
no.
want to like be the main support, and then I pretty much remember everything up until about halfway through their set,
Right.
and I
Yes.
woke up in my best friend's hotel room.
There we go.
Nice.
You did it right then.
Yeah, I was like, "What? How did I get here?"
Yeah. So you mentioned this though, but you were doing already DJ sets with. You said Emo Night, and did you do Emo Night Brooklyn as well?
Yeah, I think Emo Night Brooklyn was the first ones that I did.
How'd you get hooked into that?
I don't even remember how. I think, it was when I started talking to Ace's agent,
Okay.
or to the early November's agent. It was the same agent for Emo Night Brooklyn,
Okay.
and they're like, we have these events. Are you interested in doing this? Like, yeah, I already did this in the UK.
Yeah, right.
for like-
I'm already
for like
well versed
8
in it.
years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention that, we don't need to talk about my bar and bat mitzvah and wedding days in 1994 when I was 14. You can read about that in Tiffany Haddish's book. She also worked for my brother. That's a whole different story.
Man, we're gonna have to have a follow-up podcast. I feel like.
Before tour, after.
Right.
So like I signed on to a few of those, and then started doing the When We Were Young side shows with Emo Night Brooklyn, and I've done a couple Emo Night LA ones.
Yeah.
But only the one in Florida, because obviously I also did some like emo social stuff.
Right.
With Chris Camrata.
Yeah.
Not Chris
Caraba.
Caraba.
Dude, that's very confusing.
I know,
I did the
it's so
same. I made the same.
I wonder-
mistake.
You should see people's faces when they come to the show and they think it's going to be Caraba,
Oh,
but it's
right.
Camrata, and they're
Right.
like, "Where's the dude from Dash?"
I also wonder
got
how
the
that is
Tim
like
Lu
in the
version.
band, like having two guys named Chris.
Yeah, but not to mention their last names being
So close,
so close. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, when I saw the emo social stuff starting to pop up, and it was like Chris Camarada from Dashboard Fashion, I'm like, that's not the.
They spelled
like
his
my
name
brain,
wrong.
My brain was like kind of like, wait, that's not the name, No,
Is
but
the one with a K? Or
What?
no?
Caraba's with the Caraba's with the C. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Camarada.
Well, then also my buddy Matt Stocks, he runs a podcast called Life in the Stocks, and so that's how I got on the End Cruise. So there was like a cancellation from a DJ. They hired Matt, saw me on Matt's page because we'd done a bunch of stuff in the UK together, and that's how I ended up going to the End
So
Cruise.
so let us know, man, when you need the emo kids on that cruise,
Dude,
man.
you're telling
Oh
me
my
I
God,
want
that's a
to
dream
get
come
back
true.
on the End Cruise.
What's that?
I want to get back on the End Cruise,
Right.
but it's not happening for me. It didn't happen last year, and it's not happening again this year. So you can. We're in line. We're in line holding the same
Let's go.
ticket.
Let's go. Well, at least you've already punched yours before.
Fair.
We're probably not even on their radar right now. So then, of all the bands you've toured with, of all the emo night Brooklyn DJing and stuff like that, what's been your favorite experience? If you can't even share that, I know you don't want to play favorites on a recording, but what's been your favorite time out with a group?
There's this one DJ. I don't know if he's still doing stuff with Emo Night Brooklyn, but it was we did a couple of shows together. We did one in Dallas and one at House of Blues in San Diego, and then he was who they sent when I was telling you I brought Emo Night Brooklyn to Hawaii to next door, and they
Yes.
why am I spacing on? It's because it's Graz. Brendan is his name. But so he's just like people make the thing. You know what I mean? Like people make the experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a city is cool. Like any city can be.
They
cool.
really do, yeah.
But when you meet people there,
Yeah.
and you connect with them,
Yeah.
then that becomes the thing that you love. So there's that, and then also doing the When We Were Young side shows. I was doing it last year, and they booked me Saturday and Sunday night. So I had a couple of my friends shoot cameras both nights. I was like, listen, you guys are going to be in my music video. So I shot a music video for
right.
Tomorrow's Gonna Hurt at both nights.
Nice.
Don't tell the Brooklyn Bowl that, because that was just shooting for social media. It was for social media.
I won't
Yeah,
tell them.
Such a great venue.
I won't tell. Who knows? Who if they're
I remember I went to
we'll have
them.
to edit a whole section.
I went to them and I was like, hey, can I get access to like one of the bowling lanes to shoot some stuff for my music video? They're like, whoa. Music video? You got to go through a whole different department. I was like, did I say music video? I said for
content.
social media. They're like, oh, lane 9.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem at that point. That's funny. So then, what's your favorite town you've toured in then?
Oh, damn.
Is it in Illinois or Europe?
It's going to be Illinois or Europe for sure.
Charleston.
My favorite spot in the UK is randomly Merthyr Tydfil in Wales.
What? How do you spell it?
Exactly.
Yes, Merthyr Tydfil.
Merthyr
yes.
Tydfil.
In the days in Merthyr Tydfil. When I was a wee lass.
There's a guy there. He's actually from Portugal. He runs a venue, and he's again. It's all about the people. It's about the connection that you have with people, and
It had to
Especially
be
during the
that town, I
shows.
imagine.
Yeah.
Oh man, he made it to Merthyr Tydfil.
Lucky son of a bitch.
That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah.
God.
Dude, no one else.
Hollywood, whatever.
No one else is going there, but I love going there.
Don't tempt us with a good time.
All right, no, we'll
We're going to have to go there.
It sounds like they like to probably drink beer there. That sounds like an English town where you'd like to.
It was one of those things where, like, so his wife's the cook, and she makes this amazing peri peri chicken that rivals Nando's, which I love Nando's, and but hers is better.
Nando's?
And then back in the day, like, I mean, George would light the bar on fire at the end of the night, and we just drink shots all night. That doesn't happen anymore because I don't drink shots anymore.
Right.
Just drink beer.
Yeah.
Just drink.
We'll see it.
Emo
we'll see
Kids
it.
lager.
We'll see about this weekend. We'll see.
Dude, if you want me to make it to the next show, we're just drinking.
I
beer.
say that every time. That never works.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, on that note, any wild tourist stories? Just give me one. I'm sure you got a bunch, but any one that you can share with us.
Oh, well, we can talk about that promoter that's in jail.
Oh,
do it.
whatever.
My
What
first
do you
UK
tell?
tour.
You tell us, man.
See it.
You tell us. Well,
He actually he didn't go to jail because of my tour, though. You would hope that he did when I tell you the story.
Okay.
He robbed from a kid's charity the year after, and that's what got him. So yeah, this guy booked my very first tour in the UK, and when we showed up at the venue, there basically was like 20 people there. It was not. He told us it was sold out.
Yeesh.
And
Sold out gig.
Yeah, sold out gig. 20 people were there, and so he proceeded to purchase. This is a very Blues Brothers moment. So me and Matt Kennedy, my best friend, we truncated it down from a full band to just an acoustic show because like half the gigs had canceled. We were doing the Turn It Up to 11 tour, 11 shows in 11 days. But then like 3 days before we went, like 5 shows canceled.
Oh.
But he's like, don't worry, the other ones are sold out, so we're good. And so
This guy sounds like a gem.
Yeah.
so he would go to the bar, he would order a shot of Jack Daniels for me, a shot for Matt, a double for himself. He'd pound it and then put it on the stage. By the end of our set, I had 9 shots of Jack Daniels,
boy.
Damn.
and Matt had 9 shots of Jack Daniels. So that
do you
means
do
that
that?
guy did 9 doubles.
Jeez.
So
So that was the last time you did shots. Then.
so this is like 2012. So the GM, who's still the GM, I just did a show. This is the Globe in Cardiff. Same GM is still there, and we were laughing about this moment with this guy. So he comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, all right, your guarantee for the night is 250 quid." I was like, "Okay, cool, I understand. You didn't have like a sold out thing." He goes, "You owe us 500, so I'll minus the 250.
That is totally
That's
a Blues Brothers.
Yeah, we owe you, so you can just pay me 250. So we literally had to fight the promoter that had booked us, and he pinned Matt up against the wall, and like 3 of us like went after him and like stole his car keys and like got him to pay the bar tab.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whoa.
the next day we woke up and he was gone with the car, and so we had to take a train to Wrexham where we were
Jeez.
playing next. And then
all
I
your
met
gi-
an agent there, and I told him the story what happened. We called all the venues, and I was like, no, all of them were not sold out. So we canceled all the shows, and then he rebooked us playing other shows. So then he books us at Gloucester Underground Fest. And the guy who was running sound at this venue in Wrexham was like, "Listen, I'll drive you to your new shows. I'll mix sound for you. Just feed me and put gas in the car."
Oh,
So we're
that's
like,
a deal.
cool. We're like putting it all together like, punk rock style.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I have a band that I just recorded with, that I'm friends with, called Mallory Knox." Now, they were together, did really well, weren't together. They just did a reunion show. So they agreed to have their bass player and drummer back us up at Gloucester Underground Fest. And so we rehearsed in like Sam's mom's living room, 7 songs. We tell the promoter we're going to do the BBC introducing stage, and they say, "Okay, cool. Gnarls Wolves canceled or whatever it was on the main stage. So now you're going to open for the Dangerous Summer, Canterbury, Lower Than Atlantis, and Don Broco on the main stage. We're
Jeez.
bumping you to the main stage."
Nice.
So this was from getting
Wow.
Blues Brothered at the Globe
Wow.
to opening for Lower Than Atlantis and Don Broco
Karma,
on the
man.
main stage.
That's how it happens
That's great.
sometimes. That's
That is
awesome.
that is a story. That is a story.
I remember the next day when we went to like get food, and I was calling like seat tickets to like find out all these venues hadn't sold out. Matt's just looking at me like, "So are we going home?" I was like, "We never give up."
Rock and roll, baby. I love that. Like you said, punk rock. So do you have a favorite song to play? Is it a cover? Is it original? Whether that be like live music or something you DJ out. What's your favorite song to perform?
Man,
I know it's such a hard question. I hate when people ask me that question.
I mean,
but I had to do it.
So as far as like covers versus original, so
Sure.
I'll give you both answers.
Sure. Yeah.
The current opener has been for the last couple years, Stifler's Mom. And I'll tell you this, like, you've never seen somebody pull their phone out faster than when that first, like, when I start singing Stifler's Mom, they're like, "Oh God, there it is!" Just like the phone comes out. And Jared and I have this joke where, because obviously everyone thinks they did Stacy's Mom, but obviously it was Fountains of Wayne.
Sure.
Right.
But like on TikTok, Jared's biggest song, like if you look at the playlist, is Stacy's Mom, and mine is Stifler's Mom.
Wow.
So we just have this like funny like inside sort of thing. As far as original songs, Tomorrow's Gonna Hurt is a pop punk anthem of anthems, and even people hearing it for the first time just instantly get into it.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Cool, man. That's great. What are you listening to lately? Any new bands? Any old bands? What's in your? I guess I would say CD player, but what's in your Spotify playlist? So, kids, a CD is a thing.
Compact disc.
It's a compact disc used to put in a computer or like a little. Anyway.
It's a circle with a circle in the middle.
What's on your iPod Touch?
Yeah, right.
Dude, I just found my iPod Touch.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one did you have?
My son's like trying to get me to sell all my old gear. It's like, "Dad, look at how much this is worth on eBay. You should sell your old stuff."
What is? How much is it?
Oh, you want? Oh, okay.
I think like
Idiot.
my soul hurts.
Okay, good luck on that.
Abuse.
iPod
Yeah, right
Touch.
next to the soundboard. Just open it right
I think
there.
like the original iPod is like 1,000, but like even like the second and third generations are still selling for a couple $100 bucks.
That's crazy. You know what? I didn't get any love that I loved was the iPod Shuffle. Just a little
have my
clip.
I
Shuffle.
hated that thing.
Put it on your belt when you go for a jog.
Well, that
I
little
hate
tiny
shuffling
little-
music.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
just
to.
like-
I want to be in control of my
You
shuffle.
can. It doesn't have to be shuffle. You could put a playlist in order and then unshuffle it.
Yeah, it's too much work.
You can
Well, yeah,
unshuffle
but
the shuffle?
it was back
I like
before
the
we.
wheel, dude. I
The,
love the
the
wheel.
iPod,
You
the
just go
iPod
through.
Shuffle is like the equivalent of my Kemper player profile, where I have to know exactly what it's gonna. Sounds great,
Yeah.
but you got to know what every
But there's
button
no
is. 'Cause There's no
interface.
LED screen.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
that.
just-
I had the
just-
blue iPod Mini, the one that had. It was like the metal one. Oh, nice.
I was just waiting for that to happen. So everyone
not as
watching,
bad.
Kevin,
Not as
Kevin
bad.
wanted a beer and I threw it to him and he didn't catch it and now he's spilling everywhere.
Hey, the last warm Emo Kids beer. You should
Yeah,
have just
right.
gone to the fridge.
Yeah, thanks Sam for bringing us all the warm Emo Kid beers. I appreciate it.
No, they're cold. They're warm now because they've been
Right.
out. But
So again, what are you listening to? What's the
Man,
we got sidetracked on old technology.
you know, I turned up that album that you just texted me about today,
Yeah.
which I'll say that I like the back half better than the front half.
I agree.
That's what
I
she
agree with
said.
that. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
our bass player that's not here, he's trying to get better for our tour tomorrow. He just thought it would be better to not be here tonight. But he's like, at least for me, I think he's always like, for whatever reason, has his ear to the ground, and so that's one of the things we like to do is like review newish bands or at least modern bands that are kind of like in the emo pop punk or whatever kind of scene. So yeah, I just listened to that too. We'll talk about that a little later.
What
but
band are you talking about? You guys never said it. What
I
song?
texted to the group.
Oh well, I'm asking you now.
it's the cold, right? Or
It's Deathblend's Cold War album
Cold
by
War,
Deathblend.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, anything else besides that you're listening to lately, or more nostalgia?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what I've even been. I mean, I've been touring so much.
You just listen to your own music. That's it.
Well, I mean, I was definitely checking out like digging the new drop from the early November. Their new record.
Oh, cool.
Is,
No way. I
is
gotta check
awesome.
that out. Okay.
But I haven't even checked out the new Anne Berlin too. I gotta listen to that.
No, the new
good.
early November
Yeah,
record
it's good.
slaps
The new
for
guy's
sure.
good. Yeah.
Nice.
I love their comeback album. Was like a decade ago, with man, I couldn't even tell you what
Jamie, look it up.
it was called. But they had been, at that point they'd been broken up for a few years, or the Ace was doing his solo project for a long time.
Right. The I Can Make a Mess.
I can make a mess like no one's business.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
And then
yeah, I
they
mean, it's basically just Ace and Jeff are the
Right.
like two like
Jeff the drummer, right?
The drummer, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Jeff Cummer.
Yeah.
And so they're like the long-standing members. So that's who I got to feature on, my album was
That's awesome.
Ace and Jeff, which essentially counts as the early November.
Oh, yeah.
because they're the only last two
Right,
members left.
right.
Sure.
So
Plus, Ace probably wrote a majority of the songs originally for the band. I'm sure.
yeah, that guy is so prolific with his writing.
Oh
like,
man, I love their first 2 or 3 early November albums are just gems for me.
yeah,
I would play to Blank Stares if we could play early November. I would not mind.
Yeah,
I'll play
Dude,
with
yeah.
I'm
They
down.
don't play to Blank Stares though.
We
man.
should
They're
do a
great.
Blank
No,
Stares
not
show.
them.
Well, that's
Yeah.
when you're coming to an early November show. I mean, I've seen their shows. It's like they're packed, right? But I feel like the main emo night shows.
Oh,
you have
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's only like the the casual emo
40s.
fan, I guess you'd call them, right? Not the people that like were deep in it
good way to
like
put
us.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're the
I
top
mean-
40s emo band.
When he
Right,
shows up
right.
and does like a guest like acoustic set, and plays Ever So Sweet.
Oh,
you know,
everyone
Oh,
knows
man.
that
like
song.
they go off on that, but like you try to play that when Ace isn't there at an emo night,
Right.
everyone's like, what am I listening
Right,
to?
right. Yeah, fair enough. So what?
So yeah, I don't really know how to answer like what I'm listening to right now because it's mainly like an homage of like or of like what my friends are putting out.
Sure, that
that
makes
I'm
sense.
like kind of like dipping into.
Yeah, supporting.
Yeah, so like I'm not really in the realm of with touring, filming a TV show, and having 2 kids.
Don't have a lot of time.
I'm not discovering a lot of new music and hipping my friends to it.
I'm glad Randall could help you out then today because he's like, hey, check this band out. So yeah, that's he's the one reviewing it, but he's not even here.
Although, I mean, as far as like, okay, if we rewind back to, let's say, when I was sort of doing that, I remember my best friend Matt, when he lived in LA for a minute, he borrowed my Mustang and he left a CD in my car.
Was it CD? No.
Yeah, he left a CD in my car, and it was The Stills.
All right.
And that CD stayed in my car for 6 months, and I listened to that thing front to back.
Nice.
I don't even know how many times.
Wow.
I haven't done that since like John Mayer Continuum.
Okay.
So was just not emo.
So we talk about this all the time though. Like when if emo ever comes on, like we're in the car or whatever, we're like turn that shit, turn it,
Right.
turn it. Like any song that we play. Like especially any song that we play, we're like
Setting up in a venue.
We hear it so
Yeah.
much.
We're like,
And
Panic at the Disco comes on.
Right. So any of the songs on our set list, we instantly try to turn off. But yes,
Yeah, I was just busted out like a playlist for my kids today. We were driving to my sister's house to go. She's out of town. I was like, can we use your pool? So we went swimming today at my
Nice.
sister's house.
It was a hot day today.
It was a hot day today, so it was like a great day to just burn out on the day and go swimming. So I like my daughter wanted to hear Paramore, and she's 8.
Smart.
And
girl.
so I was like, and then I started like going through. I was like, this is Wheatus. This is the band that I just played a show with in Portland,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
right.
might tour in Australia together. And my son's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right. No, it's honestly funny, man. Like I was playing ice hockey a couple months ago, and like between periods and stuff, or before the game started, they would put like music over the speakers, like the guy doing a scoreboard. And I was like, it was just emo bangers. I was like, man, what? I was like, I go over to the guy, and I was just like gonna talk to him about the music real quick, and this guy's like 17 years old. I'm like, you weren't even born when this stuff came out. It's crazy to me, but like. It's such a resurgence. It's awesome.
Well, that the issue is right now that I remember as a kid when you went grocery shopping
What
with your parents,
Right.
you heard 70s, right?
Right.
Now when you're like picking out apples, it's fucking emo.
I
Dude,
hear it
everywhere.
everywhere.
And I'm
Everywhere
like,
we go.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it is funny, man. It is funny.
I've never have I felt older.
Right.
They
I love it though.
I work at
I love
Applebee's-
it,
I work
but
at
I'm like,
Applebee's and
but
they
I'm
play
like, I need
the
to feel
middle.
my actual youth of like
Right.
listening to Led Zeppelin while I pick out apples, not
Yeah, no, it's funny sometimes. I mean, he was just mentioning like the
Journey,
middle. He's just
no,
the middle
yeah.
playing at Applebee's, but sometimes I'm in a bar or a restaurant and I'm like, how the hell is this song playing? It's like some filthy gangster rap or something. Like I'm like, we're there now. That where it's like,
Yep.
oh, this is now like mainstream where they would have never been played when it came out. Like absolutely not.
I think
No
we're dating
doubt.
ourselves.
Do you
It's
have?
okay. I'm old and I'm okay with it. You should be okay with it too.
Cheers
We're
to
all
that.
young at heart. This is why we're going.
I'm celebrating an anniversary of a movie that the anniversary time is probably older than some of the people that are coming to my shows.
right.
I'm celebrating the
Wow.
25th anniversary of American Pie.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And some of the people on the
Crazy,
show
man.
were not even born when that film
Wow.
came out.
Classic
That was like
movie. If
my
you
high
haven't seen
school
it.
day. I was class of 2002. So yeah, that was right around. When did it come out?
99.
99? Yeah.
And I have a funny story about that. I saw that movie at my friend's house because I was not allowed to see it. I was 12. So I watched it at my friend's house, obviously. And one day I was driving with my mom and my dad, and my dad said something like, "Oh yeah, mom has a nickname too." And she goes, "Yeah, MILF." And then my dad
She
was
thought it
like,
was so clever.
"Honey, don't say that in front of him." And she's like, "He don't know. He's never seen it." And in my head, I was like, "I know what that means."
Right, you're mortified.
I'm mortified. I'm like,
call
Jesus
this milk.
Christ. But I can't say or laugh or do anything because I'm not allowed to see that movie. I was 12.
Oh, that's a good story.
That's a great
funny.
story.
So do you?
Sorry,
you have-
Mom.
Right. Mom, you watch this? Probably.
She follows every fucking show we have. She's like, "So you're in
That's funny.
Tennessee this week?" Okay, yeah. So
They showed up randomly for us.
Dude,
in
I love
Hawaii.
your mom. I love your mom.
That was
She's
crazy.
awesome.
yeah, my
So
mom's the best.
And your dad, yeah.
Your favorite emo bands or albums, like of all time?
Damn.
Better say early November. Your friends watch.
Well, I mean that is like, what I would say is the epitome for me, for sure. Because and I owe that to. So this is the other thing is like obviously you're talking like what was my like sort of pathway in. I obviously gave a lot of credit to Jarrett for establishing my position in that realm, but the introduction to understanding that was Matt Kennedy.
Yeah.
Because I remember 2014, we're touring the UK. We were opening up for Chris Rowe from the Ataris, both these days in Nottingham and Bristol. And I remember Ace Enders walked by us, and Matt goes, "Holy shit, that's Ace Enders." I was like, "What? Who?" Like from the early November. I was like, "Oh, let's go say hi." He's like, "No, I don't know." I was like, "Whatever." And I fucking just beelined it to. It was like, "Hey, what's going on? My name's Tom," and we've been in touch ever since. But
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't have known
Right.
who Ace was or who the early November was if it wasn't for Matt.
Wow. So he's your
crazy.
gateway drug.
He's my gateway drug. Well, because he played in like Warped Tour
Yeah.
with The
Oh, yeah.
Graduate, and was a founding member of The Graduate, and
Yeah.
obviously in The Dangerous Summer for 8 years, and so. But he's who kind of introduced me to what I feel like more of like the undercurrent of it, which I think
Sure.
is way cooler than I am. But now I get to pretend that I'm cool because
Whatever.
I'm in on that. So, like kind of like doing the shows with with the Spill Campus.
Yeah.
Like that's way beyond the cool of me, but I get to like.
Don't say that, man. Come on.
No, but it's true. Like
Spill Canvas are pros, man. Those
dude,
guys
no, they're
are
amazing. Like amazing, and I was so honored to like jump on those shows, and I wasn't even supposed to play any of those shows. But Nick agreed to let me be the surprise opener for like
that's
4
awesome.
of their shows on their tour.
We actually have a funny story about Spill
Mm-hmm.
Canvas. The drummer, God, I'm blanking on his name.
Jamie.
B.
No,
Starts with a B.
Brian.
Right?
I think it might be Brian. Fuck, I'm so sorry, dude. If you're watching this, but he actually messaged me. I went to go see them in San Diego. He got me in because he messaged me on Instagram just like a year and a half ago before I joined Emo Kids with Jason. The two of us were in a band in our college days called Down for the Count, and we used to tour, and we were just like a Paramore NFG kind of pop punk band. And he messaged me, he's like, "Hey, I know I just started Emo Kids, I think." He's like, "By the way, your band Down for the Count played at my hometown when I was like 12, and you guys are the reason I wanted to play drums and become a professional
that's so
drummer.
cool.
That's
and now
nuts.
I'm the drummer of Spill Canvas. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I love Spill Canvas.
Really?
Canvas,
Oh,
you're
dude.
welcome.
And so when they toured through San Diego, I came through and he got me in. I got to meet Nick, and they put on the most killer fucking intimate.
Joe Beck.
No, that can't be it. That might be the original drummer that they recorded with. He's a newer cat. He's young too. He might be like 23.
Holy shit, they've got like
They've got a lot
2,
of.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 past members.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. I mean, Nick is like the one original member. He's like written, and in fact, the band was like a Chris Carrabba style originally, acoustic only.
Jamie Fail, I'm not gonna read through.
No.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Anyway, just
Number one.
tangent.
So what was your favorite festival or show that you went to growing up? Like, I guess, it doesn't really matter the genre, just like what was your favorite kind of like music moment for you?
I mean, I didn't really. I mean, The Offspring was my initial seeing them, obviously at the Whiskey, and then I went to see them in Irvine at the Irvine Amphitheater.
Nice.
After that, and I like back cataloged them, so like I went into like Ignition and all that stuff. As far as like festivals, I shortly got into like a band after that, so I just started chasing it right away, like without even
Stop going to shows and being part of shows.
Yeah, I was just like, that's what I want to do.
Nice, love it.
So, but probably like the most insane festival that I ever got to take part in was Glastonbury.
Yeah.
Oh,
the one that
man.
wasn't supposed to be, right?
Yeah, well, that like they have over 100 stages.
Yeah.
And so
Really?
yeah, it's insane.
Wait, so you said it was Glastonbury Underground first, right? Is that part of the same Glastonbury festival?
No, that was
Gloucester.
Gloucester
Gloucester.
Underground
Yeah, Gloucester,
in
sorry.
Gloucester, England. Glastonbury was 2000. What was the Was it 16? Was that the year that Dave Grohl broke his leg? They were supposed to headline at the
Wow.
Pyramid Stage, and then he busted
He
his
ran
leg.
off, he fell off the
So
stage.
I had run
and
into-
then finished the show.
I had run into
What a
Mark
boss.
Hoppus at my friend's studio, and I was like, we exchanged information. He had a house in Glastonbury. I had just gotten connected because I had just recorded. Yeah, it was 2016. So I just recorded the Frat Party album at 606. So I got linked up with their TM, and why am I spacing on his name right now? Of the Foo Fighters. Anyway, so I was like talking to them. So the plan was I'm playing Glastonbury, and then I'm going to go hang out at Mark Hoppus's house with Gus
yeah.
Brandt, the TM of
crazy
Foo
as a house
Fighters,
out
there.
and meet Dave.
Wow.
Finally, even after I recorded at his studio.
Yeah.
And he fucking broke his leg.
Oh,
they didn't
shit.
come, and then I was like, no one went to Mark's house, so I was
Right.
like, then I just partied at Glastonbury. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
There are worse things.
Yeah, right.
there are definitely worse things.
All right, so we're coming to the end. We got to ask, Chucks or Vans? And I see what you're wearing right now, so
Neither.
maybe neither. But like, do you have a favorite of the two, or are you straight Adidas?
I mean, I've been the Adidas like All Stars for for a long like over 10 years.
Yeah.
This is all I wear now.
Yeah.
Like I have my daughter's like, how many of these things do you have? I'm like, well, they have a few depending on what I'm going to do. I have the ones that are like a little bit more worn in if I know I'm going to like be around dirt.
We got the nice, the nice ones, and you have to have the worn. I
Yeah,
get
exactly.
You. I get you. I'm actually wearing Adidas today too. Funny enough.
I would
These
say
got
so
Adidas
uncomfortable,
sandals.
dude.
These
Great.
things.
I put them on when my shoes got waterlogged.
Well, that's because they're formed to my feet.
Yeah, I know, but it still felt like I was walking on like two pieces of paper. and the
That's what
ground.
a Converse is. You're
Yeah, I mean,
literally
Not
working
my
on-
Converse.
I'm
Oh, you have
more
Dr. Scholl's in there?
I sure do.
Oh, okay.
I'm more of an Adidas guy. All day I dream about sex.
There we go. There we go. You Corn fan too?
Who isn't a
Run
Korn
DMC,
fan?
Run DMC fan, right?
For sure. So I actually my first movie that I directed was Jam Master Jay's last thing that he ever shot.
Really?
Before he was shot.
Wow.
Wow. What was
So
that
it was
like?
Daryl and Jay were in it. So we had
Well, we've
so definitely a Run DMC fan.
right. So
Hell
we've
yeah.
covered a lot, obviously, in your entertainment side. I say entertainment, so really all entertainment, but like film side and then the music side. So this is a question. It's funny. So I asked all the guys like, "Hey, send me some questions. Like, what do you think?" Obviously, we asked like some fans to send in questions too. But it's funny. This question came up a lot in like that was a question I already had. They sent me the question. So what's better, man? Being on set, being an actor, or being on stage playing music? What do you like more, man?
I love them both, and I will continue to do both.
That's literally
like
neither wins. They're
they don't win. They don't win.
Being an actor pays better.
Right.
Being an actor pays better.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that I started playing music because it kept me sane for the waiting periods in between.
Sure.
Because even in like a top level year, let's say I'm doing 3 films in a year.
Yeah.
Those films are, only a couple of months. So that's 6 months. So then what do you do for the other 6 months besides get into trouble?
Right.
So music kind of kept me out of trouble. So they in my mind, they're kind of equal.
Interesting.
In that sort of respect.
Yeah, sure.
And people ask me this question all the time.
Right, that's when you start smiling.
What would I choose? And I'm like, I'm always going to do both.
Yeah, good.
And people look at me like, when did you decide to quit acting and just pursue music? And I'm like, that's cool that you think my music is that big, but I haven't quit the other one. And here's some shit you can watch.
Well, don't worry. We're not trying to make you quit one. We're not giving you the ultimatum.
But I'm saying,
ultimatum today.
I feel like I'm not saying I'm not trying to not answer the question, but I love them both for very different reasons.
Sure. Yeah, we'll tell you this much. Yeah, we don't do this for the paycheck. we are not getting much of a paycheck.
It's
but
the
we
people.
all love this, so that's why we do it.
Yeah.
So we totally
great.
feel you on that. So we talked about obviously some productions you're doing right now. But do you have any other projects that are maybe coming up? I mean, we talked about potential American Pie 5. Anything else you got on the horizon right now?
I've got a bunch, when I say a bunch, I mean more than I could probably even remember to name right now of projects that are in development. I'm developing a film for Universal right now.
Cool.
And then I honestly, a friend of mine just sent me this script that she's like, you're going to love it. You have no idea. And I've had this in my inbox for a few weeks. I was like, I don't know. Everyone says oh, read this script. You're going to love it. And then I read the synopsis and it hit me like a ton of bricks because the story is about a kid meeting their dad for the first time as a teenager. And I met my dad for the first time when I was a teenager. So I was like, oh,
did she know this?
What's that?
Did they know this?
No, they didn't know this when they gave me the script. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to love this script. And then I started reading it. It was just, I'm 30 pages in right now. And that's honestly what I'm going to do tonight is go back. Cause I took my kids, swimming today. So I was like, I can't read this script today.
Right.
But I started this thing before we left. I was
one of those
the kids were like, Dad, are we going? I was like, yeah, let's go.
Right. Yes. Oh, yes.
So I don't know. I kind of, if you're working on material, a song, or you're seeing something when you just connect with it.
Oh yeah.
And then you start to have visions of what you're gonna do. So I started to have visions of directing this thing, and I haven't directed since I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
But I kind of got that flair on this one. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I don't know. This could be something else.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
and I'm talking about this way too early. I'm 30 pages in. This thing could take a left turn.
That's a good sign.
The end just completely, completely dropped.
That's like hearing the intro of a song. You're like, this is the next hit.
And the chorus is just garbage. Right. So, I mean, we've already kind of established this, obviously, with all your projects and everything, that you have no time to sleep. And if you do have
by
time...
By choice, yes.
Right. Exactly. Just busy by choice. But outside of hanging with your kids on your free time, is there anything else that's a fun hobby, something you just do for fun?
Oh, dude, video games with my kids are the best.
Nice.
What kind of games?
Right now, they recently just pulled out. So we'll get into something and then kind of dip into something else. They just brought out the Star Wars on the Switch.
Oh,
Star Wars
cool.
Legos.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the graphics on this thing are insane.
I bet.
So yeah,
I love the Switch. I haven't played mine in a while.
Oh, dude.
Do you play Fortnite?
No, we don't do Fortnite. We do Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I'm a big Legend of Zelda guy.
Oh, okay.
And so then my daughter, although I did start hacking for my daughter because she's 8, I started taking her to where you take the Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay.
But there's apparently a hack where you can go on Twitch and find people that will give you codes so you can fly to what are called treasure islands. so you can like gather like the best stuff.
You're sounding like a nerd to me, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
It's like Pokemon or Final Fantasy. You can go and gather your own. Like
I guess so. I mean, there's no
role-playing.
fighting in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, of course.
I'm trying to like bring less violence into my house. You know?
I think the coolest thing about our generation is that like we got to see video games evolve so fast.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
as we grew up,
Seriously,
the
it went
graphics
from, like,
always kept getting
this
better
to-
like every single year.
Oh, I
And now I
can't keep
feel like-
up. I'm terrible
Yeah,
at video
yeah.
games.
Well, so what's really funny about that now is on the Switch you can get the classic Nintendo games,
Right.
Oh, that's right.
but
Yeah,
they
the
have this
memberships,
ability where
A
you
present?
can rewind. So like if you fail,
Yes.
you can rewind like by
Really?
5 seconds.
Yes.
And I'm doing this.
No
I'm playing
way.
these retro games, and I'm like, how did I ever play these games normally?
Right.
Because now that I
Start
can just
over,
like
have to start over.
fall off a
Yeah.
cliff and just rewind, make a different choice.
Wow, that's
I'm like,
that's
I'm like,
a
how did
great
I ever do
idea.
these normally without like cheating?
that is
Donkey
cool.
Kong
That's a great
Country,
idea.
man.
Well, you know, it's
Or
probably
you start the games like halfway through. They give you like the what is it called? Like there's like a the special version, and so you remember like I don't know like Metroid,
Yeah.
right? So like they have Metroid Special. So if you go into the Nintendo Switch, you can start it like halfway through when you already have like all the best weapons.
Oh
wow.
Wow.
That's
You know,
like
it's-
that's like having Game Shark.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
it's
I
like for
remember
this
games like
generation that has like
No, it was
small
like a-
attention
it was like
spans.
a
Probably
modder for
you're
your
probably right
PlayStation.
because it's like
Game Genie. Yeah.
What do you mean this generation? It works for me too.
well, right, but I mean, but we now have the shorter attention spans
Right.
too. Back then, it was like, I have nothing else to do. Of course, I'll start this whole level over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
There was a certain amount of persistence as a teenager you had for video games. Like, I'm just gonna play this 1,000 times and
Right.
Well, yeah.
eventually beat it.
Right.
You did
Right.
have a
Yeah, I don't
phone
think.
to
I don't
look
think.
at,
I don't
or
think.
social media.
You know, that
so-
was like my day today. I looked at my kids and I go, you know, when because my phone was like inside the house and we're out at the pool. Like my sister's, like I said, out of town, so I was just like with my kids. And I was like, man, this is like what every day was like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
nothing to do. Like I was like, the next thing I have to do is like at 9 o'clock tonight with like you guys,
Right,
and like
Right.
everything else is just
It
like
felt like a good summer day for you.
Yeah, it was like a summer day where I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't like trying to like hype up shows. It
Nice.
just was like chilling.
Yeah, yeah.
I was telling my kids, I was like, this is what every day was like
Oh, yeah.
when I was your age. I was like,
so wonderful.
yeah, it was great to like have that moment again
Yeah.
today. So
So we're gonna start wrapping up.
you said that 4 times.
Right. Well, I said we're rounding the corner. All right. All right. Hold on.
And then we're gonna round third.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, then
We're rounding.
then
We're
we're at the
rounding
11th
third.
hour.
No, this is where we're gonna review the album by the band that Randall mentioned, Death Lens. The album name is Cold War. Did anyone else have a chance to listen to it besides me and
No.
Tin Man?
You sent it to me, and I
Thanks, thank
immediately
you,
I was
sir.
like, well, I was with my kids, so I couldn't listen to it right away. But as soon as I got home, I threw it on, and then I did the back half of the record in the car, and honestly, like at first I was like, man, this album sounds like the cover, and it lived
I
up
love
to its
that.
hype.
Right, with the Vans
I
on
love that.
fire.
The
or
band's
something.
on fire, and it
With the
says
graffiti.
Cold War,
Right.
graffiti on the side, and everything was just real dark and like just kind of like muddy and
Right.
like yeah. And then but then the back half of the record, man,
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean,
it got more punk,
right,
which
well,
is more in my realm.
So that was the thing. I didn't know what to expect when Randall was just like, "Hey, this is the album I've been listening to. I want you to review it." And I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, definitely like very old school punk feel. Like bringing it to like a modernized a little bit. Like the vocal processing was very distorted.
Well, it was gang vocals like the whole time for the whole album.
Right. And I'm not as a big fan of that. But yeah, the same thing. I was like a couple songs in. I'm like, all right.
Well, that's because the first 2 or 3 songs, the vocals, gang vocals, still throughout the whole record, but they're mixed super low, which to me is always kind of brave and cool because it makes them sound like a band.
Right.
I'm always like, hey, I'm the guy, like it's my name on the band. Put my vocals out in front, you know? And that makes me like egocentric. So when I hear that, I'm always like, man, that's brave and cool. But it was a little, for the first few songs, a little hard to kind of wrap my head around. I felt like I needed the lyrics up to like,
Right.
to understand what was going on. But then I don't know if my ears adjusted to it,
Yeah.
or the mix started changing or what, but it started growing on me.
Yeah, so the same thing happened to me, so maybe there's some of that there, but like for me, I finally started like enjoy it at this song number 6 called "Vacant." It was like a three songs.
Dude, "Vacant" was the first one that I connected with.
"Vacant," "Bruised," and "Memory Hotline." The 3 songs right in a row. I was like, dude, like these are like I would have not expected to where they got. So maybe they chose a wrong song order for sure. But I was just like, I finally got into it.
But I feel like that's more of what an album should be, because even back in the day, people were doing albums. Like even Bowling for Soup talks about it on their recent like Hangover You Don't Deserve.
We saw that
Because he's talking about how
put them all up front.
It was iTunes, so all the hits are up front because that's what we needed to do. Because it was for the record companies, but you don't have to adhere to record company sort of rhetoric in an album today. Everyone's saying like, oh, albums are dead.
Sure,
dude, I don't agree because I tried to release 9 singles during lockdown and they all fell flat on their face. No one cared because the album has an entirety, and it's through the album that you can pick your favorite 1 or 2 or 3 songs. You can't do that if there's only one song.
Yeah, it's also maybe kind of like coming back around too, because there's the whole like binge culture, right? Where it's like, oh, I like this show, I wish I could just watch the whole season, right? So I feel like when they release the 1 episodes, I mean, even for me, like I haven't even gotten into The Bear yet on FX.
It's good.
And it's like I keep hearing about it. I'm like, I'll wait for 3 seasons so I can just go like, blah. You know what I mean? I have like no patience again to the short attention span. So maybe there's some of that too. Maybe it's coming back around because the singles was a thing, but maybe there's some of that. Like if I'm into something, I want more to binge on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it is. I do understand it from an audio standpoint because it's hard to pay attention to just that realm, as opposed to like binge watching like a show.
Sure.
Where you can fully envelop. Because typically, if you're going to listen to an album just to like, oh, hear this album, then you're going to start doing 5 other things,
right.
And then it's in the background, and you're not really paying attention.
Well, it was nice actually. I listened to the whole album on the way here, and I'm driving, so that's like the best way I think to like. Because you're right. Even if I was listening to it at home or something, I would have been doing something else or something, and not really like immersing. But like because I was on the, I have about an hour drive here every time we come here, so I'm like, oh, perfect, I'll make it through this whole album, so I could actually like invest in it and kind of like listen to it. So yeah, I mean, in general, not my favorite style of music. It was my favorite album, but those 3 songs, like when I got there, I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. But I think it kind of slowed down a little bit, like it got. Like, funny enough, got a little bit more emo, maybe like emotional, like the lyrics, even the vocal patterns. I think there was an acoustic section in there.
But there was on, especially on "Vacant," was the first song that it was very like guitar riff oriented.
Sure.
Whereas the first 3 songs were more like it was like everything was on all at the same time.
Chord heavy, wall of guitars.
Yeah, just wall of sound.
Yeah.
But as soon as it got into like that punk riff, I was sort of like, I was in, and then the lyrics kind of seconded that.
Yeah. With
like "Vacant" especially.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely recommend giving it a listen. Yeah, those 3 songs in the middle. It's funny actually. This it's a weird thing. It's probably just me, but for me, I could always tell if song number 7 was good. It's like, okay, this band's good. I don't know why 7. I don't know why 7 is. For whatever reason, if 7 was
I was going to say 11 for some reason.
7 is Bruised.
I specifically would name my albums my favorite track, and I remember on my first album I put "Without Warning" at track 7 for that very.
No way!
Awesome.
So 7 too? Is 7 for you the same?
Yeah,
thing?
dude.
That's so weird. Is it for anyone else? Is it just?
For me, it was 11.
Really?
Yeah.
But Steve,
Everlong. Everlong, I think is track.
That's so funny, man. I've never met anyone that's like 7. It has to be numbers. Even in our bands, I was like, my favorite song has to be number 7.
Yeah, I would always go like as and also for like live sets when I was doing like all original sets, you'd be like, let's slow it down at 3, but then we'll build back up, and then we give them like the monster at 7.
That's great. That's amazing. All right, so this is the very last question. This is the fan question. This is a question we had already. Got some fans asking, and actually, I think Jason
I'm the question guy. I had all the questions
it was Jason or Sam. I can't remember. But it probably wasn't you. But but this is for everyone.
By the way, I'm not done yet. I have so many more questions.
All of his questions revolved around like actors you've worked with. And I'm like, I'm not asking him that. Anyway, but this is for everyone. So Who should we have? Should we have Tin Man go first?
Absolutely.
Or you want to go first on this?
Or last.
That's what I'm saying. Should we first or last? I don't know. I think we should wrap up with him. So I'll ask everyone else and then him because this is probably going to be the juiciest answer to this. All right. So what's the craziest thing you've ever had a fan do?
Me? Or you were just looking at me, so.
Who wants to go first?
I'll do it. I'll go with
do
an
it.
easy
Break
one.
the seal.
Rally, the chick asked me to sign her face in a permanent marker.
That's pretty crazy. I feel like I've known fans to do crazier shit to you though.
So have I, but that's
you can't share anything.
No, that's
for the podcast.
Right. That's for the Patreon. The Patreon.
Yeah.
That's for the only farts. Steve, you got one? Jason?
I don't even know if I have one. I
got some.
Can I talk about more than
not on here.
Aggressive women who are aggressive.
I really wish I was more prepared for this question. Yeah, I'm the one that asked or put it down, but I'm like, I
don't really have anything like crazy as far as like. Well, I've been invited to questionable people's houses to do substances, and that's pretty crazy because I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
but it's nothing like.
Can you think of something unique to this?
There's nothing unique. Being in a band is the same shit every day. Hey, you want a party? Sign my tits. You know?
Right.
Shit, I don't know. A lot of weird stuff. Probably this one time, like I met this girl. Why does it have to go back to girl stories?
Because that's when all the crazy shit happens. That's when you do unreasonable shit.
And she asked me generously. I was gonna go home with her, walk her home. She had one leg. I didn't realize until we got back. She had one leg. I know it was like a Deuce Bigelow scenario.
Wow!
But that was the craziest thing because it was a Sunday night in New York City. My first time there, I had to go back or like get on the whole subway system or figure it out.
Oof.
On a Monday morning, 6, 7.
Jesus.
The next day.
Yeah, you have some of the gnarliest stories, bro. This guy's been mugged 3 times.
We'll talk about all those, this weekend. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
He's been kidnapped.
Yeah. I think we already brushed on that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had that in a previous podcast. Yours are always the great, like, I don't know how you get yourself in these situations, bro. So, you're totally the drummer, just getting into fucking trouble.
Didn't you say that recently? Like, I'm the quintessential drummer?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's always the last one. We're boarding.
Wait, is that a compliment? I don't know.
Where's Jason? We're boarding. Just Jason, just somewhere. And then
I like
by
to
the
wonder.
way, this was his past trip, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're finally like boarding, but right before we boarded, Southwest is like, oh, by the way, we're now at this gate, which is the gate right next door. But last he heard, it was B11 or something like that. And we're like, Jason, we're in line. Like, hurry up, you got to get over here. He's like, oh, okay, I'm on my way. So he comes walking up, and we're now in this new line.
You guys
but
suck,
we see his face, and where it was, nobody's in line. Gate's empty. No gate agent.
Deserted.
He's just like, you can just see him.
Deserted. Yeah.
And so,
Like, oh, I missed it.
and here's the thing.
I thought I missed it. Yeah.
Dude,
I was
I
walking
didn't
up
even-
like, is she gonna let me on?
Jason, I don't think anyone here like realized that you didn't know the gate was changed, but we're just watching you have a panic attack the whole time. And then he's like, I think it was me actually. He's like, "Oh, shut up!" And I was like, "Jason."
Oh yeah, thank you, man. I love how you guys like to just watch and enjoy.
No, but like
my anxiety.
I honestly didn't. I didn't realize.
Anxious. You looked like concerned. You just like were like.
Well,
walking
yeah, I was
through.
concerned. I was with my boys.
I didn't know you were having like that. You didn't look anxious. I didn't see the panic. I
honestly didn't
just saw
realize
like
it.
you were just walking straight for the door.
I was
So,
already
like,
trying to
look through
figure
it.
out like how do I convince her to let me get into the
If
gate.
anybody would be able to convince her to let you through the gate, it would be you.
Thank
Dude,
you.
I totally
That's
see like a
nice.
Dumb and Dumber moment, right, where Jason just runs down and it just falls out the end of it because there's no plane there. That would have been good.
But I'm glad you guys enjoyed that.
No, it was after the fact. It was funny, but not. Yeah. Like between acting and music, you have to have some crazy fan story.
I mean, yes. It's
No,
it's
you
so
can share.
it's so hard to like pinpoint one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
when you're put on the spot and you're like, hey, what's your craziest story out of 1,000 times that you've done this?
I
Like,
should have prepped you with this question.
The one that's
Yeah.
not going to get you canceled.
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to think like, what I would even at this point, the experiences that I've had, like what I would even define as crazy. I've kind of already
Your crazy threshold has changed.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I've already defined like getting left by a promoter in another country the day after the first gig.
Right.
So I was in Germany.
Okay.
Oh man.
In March, and this girl comes in. She's like wants to make out with me, so I make out with her, and then her boyfriend comes backstage. He goes, "Were you making out with my girlfriend?" And I go, "Yes, I was." I was like, "What else am I gonna say? Like, am I gonna lie to this dude and like have a fight?"
Yeah.
And he was like, he didn't know how to react. So like,
he's like, that wasn't the reaction.
He's like, and he just like grabbed her. He's like, "Let's go." And it's like they left.
Oh God.
Perfect. There's been, I mean, obviously.
Come on, Comic-Con, no weirdos like coming after you and shit.
No, there's definitely been some very interesting
You're so nice.
people that I've met along the way. Some that have had to have letters sent to them from lawyers, but it's like
That was very subtle. Slid that in there.
yeah, but there's I've somehow navigated my way around that. I don't know how.
Yeah. Have you seen Baby Reindeer? That's what I think of that shit.
Yeah, you're pretty much hitting like.
Is that strike a nerve?
Oh yeah, that's
strike
my first. Yeah. But we can talk about that later.
Baby Reindeer, check it out. Then you know what he's talking. What happened to him? It's actually he wrote the story. Actually,
No, I did not. Nothing to do.
Just kidding.
With
just
that
kidding.
story. With that story at all. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that the craziest one was honestly that promoter story.
Yeah.
And like putting that tour back together.
Craziest one you can share. Got it.
Yes.
I think we're gonna maybe have to do a follow up sometime because there's so many stories I feel like we got from you. But yeah, thanks for talking to us for almost 2 hours now. From everything for your film career and your music career, and we're so excited to be on tour with you this
Dude,
weekend.
I can't thank you guys enough for inviting me to come and do these shows.
Hey,
I know this is going to come out after
I was
the
gonna
fact.
say it's gonna come out. Hopefully, he still likes us.
Yeah, right.
After this,
Same goes in reverse. But
We're gonna be the one getting
filming
Do
this.
not release that.
Filming this
Exactly.
prior to Memphis, Nashville, and Spartanburg.
Yeah, I've never heard of
Spartanburg.
This shit,
Nor had I.
Sounds amazing.
dude. But it's honestly it seems like it's gonna be.
for Sparta.
It's a nice big venue with a nice stage and
Feels good
apparently
probably
there's
to say
some
that,
solid shows. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this run. But yeah, who doesn't want to go to Nashville?
I'm excited for
Always
Nashville.
fun in Nashville.
Memphis barbecue.
We're gonna be eating barbecue every single day, so I hope you're ready.
Are you? Do you guys cover Lit? My Own Worst Enemy or no?
Yeah,
we are now.
we can. I think we all know that song.
we
Just
are
haven't
now.
played
I was
it.
gonna say because
we don't currently.
Well, I'm just saying because if I get like AJ or Jeremy or
We're gonna have
Taylor
to then
come
at that
out.
point.
Oh, do
So,
they
like-
live in Nashville?
Yeah, they all live in Nashville.
Oh shit. Okay. We'll
Yeah, the
figure it
only
out.
one that
Yeah,
doesn't
we're learning
is
it tonight.
Kevin, who
Yeah.
lives in the OC. He's the only standing member of Lit that did not move out of the OC.
Is he the one that owned the slide bar?
Jeremy and AJ. I mean, the band owned Slide Bar.
Oh, I thought
But
it was
they're
just,
all
I thought it was
OC,
one guy.
like origin,
Right.
But like Kevin's the only one that stayed.
That was the best venue to play at as a local band that had nobody because they were the only venue that actually paid local bands well.
The best was when they had us outside, though.
I played inside and outside.
Right,
They're
but
both-
before they even had the inside, the back room,
Oh,
it was only the outside. They had to put up like church plexi in front of the drums.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? For like the sound
call it-
organ.
we call it-
Doesn't get, like,
We
the
call it
sound
the
rate.
bubble. We
The
call it
the very first show I played there was live outside where the DJ is, like coming out, like and then they built the inside room, and I was like, it wasn't as fun
Right.
because everyone was outside at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we're gonna have to see how these antics go, and hopefully, and we like Sam just said, hopefully we don't get lawyer letters from you.
Yeah.
Please
I
do not
know.
contact us.
yeah, exactly. Wow, these guys were crazy.
Please cease and desist all those stories that you post.
Yeah.
Do not and remove those from sending letters to Meta, trying to get those off our archives and everything. But yeah, man,
10-minute
thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thanks so much for bringing us joy from all your movies.
Yes.
Thanks so much
Oh, yeah.
for bringing us joy from your music and all the other emo kids out there that you've been part of shows. So we're super excited. that we have started a relationship with you, and we're excited to see where this goes, man. So thank
Yeah,
you for
man.
being a part of this podcast. Thomas, Ian, Nicholas. We'll see you next time. Thank you.